Okay, and here we are from Walnut Kills, California. Got a lot of news to cover tonight.
A lot.
Legitimately a lot.
And I think we've only been away for like 2 weeks, right? 3 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks? Wow.
Yes, 3 weeks. So
usually within a month. I'm surprised we're doing a podcast.
Yeah. We might not have a consistent schedule, but we're how do I say? We're making.
We're doing more lately.
Yeah, we are.
And we might be doing a lot more lately in the future. Not just kidding. Kurt, we're doing weekly podcasts.
Weekly podcasts. I'm going to quit my job and do this full time.
Kurt's quitting his job, and we're doing daily podcasts.
Yeah, I'm going to surf on the internet 8 hours a day. I'm going to, surf for history on luchadores and find out which of my favorite stars appeared naked in what movies.
You could actually do a daily podcast on Lucha if you really wanted.
You probably could.
Yeah.
You could. There's so much to cover.
There's so much, because on a daily basis, there's always something going on. Maybe not a 2-hour show, but like an hour-long podcast, 45-minute long podcast.
Yes, exactly.
And shows you watch and stuff like that.
There's so much out there to watch.
Yeah.
Well,
it might be less.
Less?
Yeah.
Oh.
But we'll talk about it in a bit.
More or less.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I want to thank folks who have sent us some emails, both Facebook.
Send you emails.
Yes, send me emails.
Yes, the rule, as usual.
Yeah.
You handle the.
I try to answer
the
emails.
Fan Twitter,
and if
the
I
fan
don't,
responses. I only handle Twitter.
Exactly. I try to respond to them. If I don't, apologies, but I do read them. I do read every one. Want to thank William Hasselwander on Facebook for turning me on to some old Lucha matches, including 1979, Dr. Wagner versus Dos Caras from Japan.
Yeah.
Yes. And several other matches, including one that I have seen many times and have talked about many times, Pirata Morgan versus Misawa when he was Tiger Mask.
I have that in 5-6 different tapes and DVDs.
Yeah. I have watched that match so many times. I saw it for the first time, I think, in '85.
Yeah.
And the one Pirata Morgan, I don't know if you have it on tape, but on that same tour, everybody was raving because he was in a 6-man with Baba on the other team.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
Is the one where Baba actually picks him up for a body slam, and because the people I talked to said it looked like Pirata Morgan slammed himself. Baba never lifted people for a body. It said Baba had this big grin afterwards, like, I hoisted somebody.
The one I've seen is where he tags with One Man Gang.
I know. Oh, no way!
In the tournament,
I never saw that.
The real World Tag League or whatever. I can't remember. I don't want to make it. I always called it the Real World Tag League, but
I always called it the year-end tournament
because it sounds weird nowadays with Real World and the MTV show. So I always think that, and it's not called Real World, but it actually was called that.
It's called the Artificial World.
Yeah, so it's that was actually kind of cool. I always wondered what, remember when we would talk about the old days, Mid-South and all these promotions.
Yes.
And I always thought, man, what if Pirata Morgan was in Devastation Incorporated?
Oh man!
As a lighter weight and with One Man Gang and all those guys, and you got to see it on that show.
That is so cool. I also want to thank our friend Scotty Astro, who enjoyed our most recent interview with Superboy. He writes to us, I just finished LuchaWorld 44 with Superboy. I loved it. When I was first really getting into Lucha, I got a few of those old Win tapes. I thought they were so cool. That is where I first saw Superboy. Superboy was the catalyst of me seeking out more SoCal Lucha tapes, which led me to finding out about the LA scene with Piloto Suicida, Loverboy, Principe Indu, etc. Back in those days, I waited anxiously by the mailbox for my next LA Lucha handheld to arrive. Later in the 90s, I thought it was so cool that Superboy and Piloto were on the Michinoku tapes I was getting. Anyways, thanks for the interviews. They are very enlightening for me. I really enjoy hearing stories and learning new things about an era of wrestling that I once loved. I can't wait for next year's Superboy interview. Thanks.
I like how we only interview him once every year.
Yeah,
but, you know,
and the funniest part is we don't plan it that way.
Yeah,
it just happens that the next time we get around to it...
It's either one of us thinking about interviewing him or him actually going out of his way to ask us when we're going to do it.
I love it when we see him, he looks at us and says, when are we doing the next interview?
Yeah. Well, because he's doing a lot of... he's doing his own radio show now, too. Or
yes.
He was for a while. I don't know if he's still doing it now.
I don't know if he's or not, because he was doing it with that one internet radio station.
Yeah, and then
there's another one. I don't know if that one's still happening.
Like, there's a new one now, too. Like, some show that... They had Volador and Mephisto on, like, last week or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, what we have to do is go to his house, interview him to talk about the interview show.
yes. Ask him what he's doing with interviews and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember Superboy, the same... but I actually saw him before tapes. I mean, I remember when used to air in El Paso. And I used to watch that stuff, because I was into Lucha. I was watching all the Lucha shows, and when that show started, it was so different, because it looked like a little studio-type show.
Yes!
And, like, the interviews, and that guy who did the interviews had, like, this distinct voice.
Yeah!
It sounded like... Because I think he did radio and stuff like that. He was somebody from here in LA that did radio and news at one point. Because I knew him... I actually knew him from when we would come on trips here, and he would be doing the news or the sports.
Oh, no way! I did not know that.
That sounds
But
familiar.
no, I did remember he had this, like, unusually professional voice.
Yeah, so when he would do Lucha, it just sounded so weird, like... Because I was used to the Lucha, like... Well, you know, the Lucha... The announcers in Lucha were very different in different places. You had Dr. Morales, and all the other guys, Septien and Mago Septien, all those guys were very... They knew about Lucha.
Yes.
And then you have, like, the guy in Juarez, who, like... I think, I don't know what it was. I think he would hold the microphone. Mm-hmm. Like, it was like a moving microphone. And he would actually call the matches from nearby the ring side.
Oh, really?
Which was very, like, I don't know if he did that all the time, or he would go back and do it in studio. Mm-hmm. But it always sounded like sometimes he was close by, and all of a sudden
like he was roaming.
Yeah, roaming. Yeah. Because it looked like a handheld. If you watch a lot of, like, the Lucha from Juarez, it looked like a handheld.
I remember that, because I got those tapes from Conan, like, in 89 or so.
Yeah.
And it did look like it was a fan cam.
Yeah.
You know?
But it was so, like, raw. It looked really cool.
Now, we'll get to the main story, but I briefly wanted to touch base. I remember how I told you I saw that Pirata Morgan versus Volador match from the early 90s in Monterrey. Yeah. I have to say, I loved the presentation of the whole thing, because Pirata Morgan's walking out of the dressing room, fans are clamming around him, and the commentator was right there with the microphone to do a pre-match interview.
Yeah, that's how Monterrey was exactly like Juarez was, too. Like, if you watch a lot of that stuff, it looks like handheld footage, too.
Yeah, but I thought that was...
Professional.
It was more professional than the Juarez stuff.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest, I don't think I've seen much Monterrey, because I just sat there saying, you know, if somebody was going to do...
It gets worse. No, just kidding. Well, Monterrey nowadays is, like, really...
No, I heard it's a shell of what it was.
Yeah.
But, assuming that was how it was done back then...
And, you know, there's talent I mean, every area has talent, but it's like the promoters always, like, go with different stuff. They have different ideas, book stuff that really doesn't make sense.
And as we have talked about, so many promoters just tell the guys, okay, go out there, do whatever.
Yeah.
Where, you know... In my day, a lot of promoters would say, keep it tight, don't do 100 topes.
And you know what's so great? I was watching that Informa show this past Wednesday, and they were asking Stuquita and Mercurio, who are two of the minis in CMLL, what they thought their division needed. Yes. And they were talking about how they need motivation. Mm-hmm. And it's like opportunities will lead to motivation, and I'm like, well, that's kind of what CMLL lacks.
Yeah, that's true.
And, they don't have a lot of creativity, like with their stuff, like what their booking is nowadays. Yeah, it's just really like Ultimo Girl and Atlantis. Everybody else is like, They're part of
something
the show.
I'd like to touch. I'll mention briefly, but I would love to touch on a little bit later in more detail. Is when I watch IWRG, I feel like I'm watching some guys who are talented, but it looks like somebody told them you're not getting paid tonight, because they kill so much time.
That can't be a reason for being bad. Most wrestlers don't get paid. Come on.
That's right.
Yeah, that's not.
So anyway, I want to give Scotty Astro another thanks, and if you want to write me
They could write both of us on Facebook. Scotty sends us both messages.
He does, and
we read them.
Yes, I do read them.
We did have that discussion on Pimpinella, didn't we, or something like Pimpinella and
That's right. I totally forgot about that. That was awesome.
That reminds me of when I used to email with Jose Fernandez, and we always talked about Trio Fantasia.
Yes.
But we never talked about anything else but Trio Fantasia.
And probably everybody else would like, why are we talking about that? I love Trio Fantasia.
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love them.
Like anything else, we'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. But, yeah. So anyway, my email address is Liger, Lyger, at AOL.com, or you can just go to Facebook and look up Vandal Drummond and friend me and message me. And that's all I've got to say about it.
Do they have to friend you to message you? Because I don't think they...
Probably not. No, you don't have to friend me.
They can message you.
They should.
I don't know. I think
they have a choice where you're a foe instead of a friend.
Yes.
Friend me or foe me.
Yeah. I was actually surprised Volador actually replied to my my message like on Facebook. Well, not that he wouldn't, because more that he would like actually be using Facebook. You know, because everybody's always not. Some guys use it, some guys don't use it.
Yeah, there's some folks who use it just to do a little publicity, but they
don't really respond.
And they get 101
I'm guessing he does because he's selling stuff on there, so he's got to see that stuff. So yeah. But no, it's really cool when they actually give you even just a thanks, you know, like thanks.
That's cool though.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So we have lots of news.
There's lots of news, and the biggest news.
The biggest news,
not Mystico, but Mistic.
Mistic 2.0.
Yes.
Has actually 2.0. Mystic 2.0.
Is he the lost little brother of Matt Hardy?
Has left AAA.
Shocking.
This is, I mean, all of us figured that was going to be a long-term relationship where everybody got along.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially with Alberto.
With Alberto in the group.
Yeah, they were going to go to a shooting range.
I will say this. I mean, for whatever reason, in American wrestling, I don't think we get a lot of surprises nowadays. Because really, well, you know, really, what is there to be surprised with? Because I mean, a guy jumping from TNA to WWE isn't that big a deal. Because TNA guys right now, there's not as. I mean, Kurt Angle's the name, but there's really not a lot of like. There's not a huge star going from one place to the other.
Right.
Or Ring of Honor. Yeah, you have guys going from Indies to the WWE, and that's but most people already know about it.
Yes.
Or you hear weeks and there's a rumor. But this one, like, nobody really was bringing up Mystices, Sin Cara, now Mystic 2, jumping from AAA, or leaving AAA. Because he hasn't jumped to any, he's joined Lucha Libre Elite.
I had no idea. I mean, I could have pictured there being a falling out up the road, because he's difficult to work with, apparently.
Yeah.
But this, for me, was out of the blue.
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, the news, when was it, Friday? I think Thursday, one of the reporters wrote that he was told somebody from an ex-WWE wrestler was going to be announced for the Lucha Libre Elite show, which is happening on this Sunday.
And I remember that. And
we were all joking. Oh, it's so Rob mentioned Boogeyman. I think I mentioned Brutus Beefcake, and other people were just mentioning all these random WWE guys.
I thought it was going to be somebody who was on Tough Enough for a short time.
Yes.
And, you know,
that's what I was thinking. That I go. You know what should be Tough Enough's Andy whatever the fuck his name, you know? Or some dude that I wouldn't even know, like some dude who was like on that show for like 30 minutes and that's it. And you know, the next day, about, I'm guessing it was 6 p.m. Pacific time, like a half hour before the show was going to start. He wrote, actually Meltzer might have been the first one that revealed it, that Mystices was backstage at in Arena, Mexico.
Wow.
And then he wrote that Apollo Valdez, who's a really good reporter out of Mexico for Medio Tiempo. He mentioned that he then mentioned that he was there. Mystices was there, and then I guess some reporter sent AAA the news, and Jordan Roldan wrote compared Mystices to Judas.
Yes, that's funny.
He later deleted, which I'm really pissed. Usually I'm quick to screen cap every tweet that I think, but I didn't think he was going to remove it. I mean, he didn't say who it was.
I was going to say, I get a little nervous every time I put something on Twitter. I still usually do Facebook. But I get nervous because people's inhibitions are removed.
Well, this wasn't bad. This wasn't bad, though.
This wasn't bad, but you want to kind of think those things out.
I wouldn't. But that wasn't bad, like I was saying, because Mystices was the one that looked bad in this. Dorian was just pissed. Dorian was just a business guy who was pissed that somebody he's working for him jumped without telling him.
Yeah, but Dave pointed out something very very ironic. Is that's how AAA was born. They robbed people.
And I think that's why he kind of like toned it down afterwards, because he was like, "Yeah, you're right. We did start like that."
Well, and that's
why Conan never said anything, which I'm sure.
Yeah, well, also Conan, I think was told, both he and Dorian were told
not to say anything.
Yeah, be quiet. Because who knows if they want to make any illegal moves, or if they just don't want to look like pissed inferiors.
Yeah.
If you bitch too much, even if you're in the right.
Because they get guys all the time too. So it's like, how are you going to get pissed about that? I mean, they got Goya Kong. Goya Kong jumped. You didn't see. Well, although I'm guessing she didn't leave in that bad term.
Probably not.
And there's a big difference between Goya Kong leaving CMLL and Mystico.
One thing I will say is, say what you want about Mystico. I know that he's created many problems for himself, but he's made himself relevant again.
He generates interest.
Yeah, he left WWE a bit of a punchline.
Yeah.
And
that's still kind of held against them with American fans, but in Mexico it's not as. There are some fans who view it as a failure,
right?
But they're not completely like, oh, he was horrible, because you could spin it as WWE being the one that screwed him over, which isn't true, because Sin Cara was really like, he was horrible, like always injured, very unprofessional. It wasn't like an Alberto situation.
Exactly. It's like he walked in like...
He failed in WWE.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's in Mexico, he's always been viewed as the guy who was the last boom in Lucha. Was him.
Yes.
So he's always going to have a place in Mexico. So then, then he debuted him. I think, did you watch the show as it happened?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? I think it was live, right? They were airing it live on Claro Sports. I can't remember if that show was live, but I know he was there, and I think it was, and he basically was like glad to be back in Orlando, Mexico. They announced him he was going to be on Lucha Libre Elite, and he hoped to be returned to CMLL, the home that saw him, be born, grow in career wise, and like then he kisses the ring and everything as he walks away, and it's like. You're just thinking, well, we all kind of, and I think a lot of people, like, when he left, we all kind of figured this was going to be like him he would come back at some point.
Yeah.
Although, maybe CMLL didn't think it was going to be this soon. Because, I mean, when did they make the new Mystico? Like, a year after he left? 2010, 2011?
I'm so bad, I'm losing track of time these days with that kind of stuff.
I can't even remember when he left. That tells you how bad I am with time.
I can't remember who it was, but
2013,
but I was
2014.
I was thinking of a wrestler who passed away. What I thought was maybe
10 years ago,
a year ago, and it winds up they passed away 5 years ago. I mean, what?
It is so weird. Like I was trying to remember, and I was trying to remember when Mystico was created. The second, the one that's the skinny kid right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, when was that? And I'm thinking, was that 2012, 2013?
And it's so funny.
I can't remember.
I think one of the reasons I feel so strange to me is I used to be a geek when it came to dates. Like, I remember the date of the very first show I ever went to, all the finishes.
Yeah.
And I remember when, Harley Race won the belt from Terry Funk, all that stuff. But now, I barely remember whether I watched something last week or last year.
Yeah, well, I can't remember if the Claro Sports show aired. Well, that's also because they're geo-blocking it all the time. So, I like how people tell me you could watch it if you switch your proxy settings, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not touching my computer with anything that requires me having to remember how to do something. You and
me both, my friend.
Yeah. So then he ended up doing another appearance for Adam Arena Coliseo Guadalajara, and Lucha Elite held a press conference where they announced that he had changed his name. Actually, he mentioned before that he was going to change his name because Mystices was AAA's name. So now people are kind of worried or not worried, just thinking that AAA might put somebody else under the Mystices gimmick, which, I don't know, like, I wouldn't rush into it just because I don't really think the gimmick was that that great.
Yeah, and it's almost...
And it's basically him. It was basically him. It was just them changing a name. I mean, if you could get somebody and you think Mystices is a cool name, redo the gimmick, the look and everything, fine. But I think don't rush into it. Don't lose sleep. You can come up with a different name, and so I mean,
well, it's almost as childish as there being another Mystico.
Yeah,
not just,
yeah.
You know,
well, we said the same thing about CMLL also. We said the same thing about WWE with Sin Cara also.
Yeah.
I mean, the WWE Sin Cara, what is he really doing? It's not really this exciting character.
Exactly. Yeah.
In the tag team, people don't really like. They're in with those Matadors and all those other guys. You know, they're not the New Day.
Oh God,
you know?
yeah. But like the WWE really understands Lucha.
Yeah, I like how they like now everybody's like. We were at that show where these kids were chanting Lucha, Lucha.
Yes.
And everybody was upset. That's not these two little kids were upset because those aren't the Lucha Dragons. I'm like, dude, it's Lucha. What do you want? They're chanting really. Lucha because it's a Lucha show, you know?
Exactly.
What do you want them to chant? Women's wrestling? Remember? At the Stardom show, they were chanting women's wrestling.
Oh, that was
That's so lame.
Oh, God.
We'll talk about that later.
Yes.
So with Mystico, basically, I think the plan is he's going to be, I think, for the moment, he's going to be the face of Lucha Libre Elite. Mm-hmm. I kind of think this is going to be kind of like the Paraguayo Perros and Mod promotion when they first broke off CMLL. Mm-hmm. The initial idea was that Perro was going to handle the Perros and Mod promotion separately.
Yeah.
Kind of like, I think they did that in Japan once, like some group in Japan. I just can't remember what group it was. And it ended up not working.
Yeah.
And so Perro left, did his own thing. And the promotion itself didn't work either down the road. So.
Yeah, I remember that was a promotion that never really started. They
did a few shows, and then he jumped to AAA, and it kind of went nowhere. But with Lucha Libre Elite, I think they have some backing.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Now, they're going to be doing Sundays.
Yeah, they took over. That was the other big news. They're taking over the Sunday shows in Arena, Mexico. Although I think they're running a Guadalajara show, and I think they might be switching back and forth between Arena Mexico and Guadalajara.
Oh, so it could be like an every
Sundays.
other week thing?
I have no idea. Like, I think they said weekly, but there seems to be. I can't. You know,
and as we know,
I'm bad with dates. You know.
Yeah, and as we know,
time zones and dates. If the Cubs fan wasn't around, we'd all be lost.
Exactly. Thank you, Cubs fan, for grounding us.
Yeah.
In time and space.
time dates and all that stuff.
Yeah, and as we know, Arena Mexico, owned by CMLL. Is there any word on what the financial deal is in using the arena, or do you think CML will be working?
Well, they're going to make money off of it either way. I mean,
yeah,
because they're. But like if they keep it somewhat different, it might actually draw well for a while. But if it starts becoming the same thing as what CMLL does, it's not gonna last.
Well. Now, am I remembering correctly that they focus on using a lot of the veterans, the legends?
Indie guys and stuff like that.
Because I'm wondering if they did Guadalajara one Sunday and Arena Mexico the next Sunday, if each city only had it every other week, I wonder if that
would work. I mean, that might actually work.
Because you would be oversaturated.
Yeah, but if you're doing it... The only thing is, like, if you do it different enough where you have, like, if Mistic 2.0, like, if he's only wrestling that show... That's fine, but if he starts working all the CMLL shows, it's pretty much dead.
Right.
Because it's just going to be another CMLL show.
Yeah, I can't remember what region it was, but I remember in the 70s there was the one territory where they would... the main city was a Friday night city, but they would only run every other Friday night. And I remember, I think that I heard that weekly, the crowds were just kind of dwindle, but if you had it every other week, you weren't giving them too much.
Well, no, CML draws well with the Universal Tournament. That's kind of...
they drew pretty decently with
they did. They did that they did well for one show, and then there was another show where...
wasn't the storyline that Atlantis was always wanted to win that title or something like that?
Yeah, because... He needs that.
He hasn't.
Everybody,
himself yet.
Quick, name who's won the CML Universal Tournament over the past since it started.
Danny Casas.
Ultimo Girl twice.
Yes.
Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rush, I think.
I have no idea.
Tanahashi, maybe.
I couldn't name one.
Yeah. I can't remember.
Again, if I was 15, I wish I could name
yeah.
one.
Yeah, that's how it is with tournaments. Like, name all the who's won the Gran Alternativa.
Yeah, but there's so many
it's like there's so many of them.
You have a hard time memorizing who won the tournaments in one specific year because they have so many.
Yeah. Yeah, so then there was all this Mistic 2.0 stuff, and there was a lot of rumors that he tried to get other people from AAA to jump with him, which he said wasn't true. And apparently, I don't know, Averno, it was immediately the first guy everybody thought was going to jump, but he pretty much told them he wasn't leaving this time. He's staying in AAA.
I was going to say, he seemed like one who was really up to having a fresh start. Like,
and I think he kind of saw, now that Luciferno's kind of set with the Hijos del Infierno, where would he go? you're like Luciferno, they rarely team with him.
I just keep thinking about that tweet you did earlier today about seeing a bunch of masked wrestlers in a church.
Yeah.
And I'm saying it'd be even weirder to see like Mephisto and Luciferno in the church.
Yeah, he's just with the horns and stuff like that. Yeah, but
who exactly are you praying to in our church?
I think Averno's kind of like he's kind of in the same spot he would be in CMLL, really.
Yeah.
In AAA, so
I guess
you kind of pick where you're kind of doing well.
Pick where you are.
Yeah.
Who's giving you a benefit?
I wouldn't be shocked if he left at a future point in time, but I don't think he's going to leave anytime soon. And then Mysticis's brothers, I should call him Mistic 2.0, Argos and Argenies were also rumored to be leaving, but apparently they ended up staying with AAA, which I'm glad because I don't really think we need more of these shitty... What were the Argos? Argos is really bad, so we don't need more of that in CML. We already got plenty of really generic shitty luchadors toiling in the bottom. Man, did you watch that Puebla show? They had like the Puebla show. I have no idea why they just don't stick with the Puebla locals in the first two matches. They always have to bring in all these other like the DF guys. And the DF guys are just so bad.
It doesn't seem cost efficient when you use local boys who are better workers.
It's just bad. Like, you have all these guys, it's like, man, come on.
And the local boys, you probably don't have to pay as much either.
Yeah. Well, you're not paying for the travel. And, the transportation, stuff like that. So they're staying. Argenies is also one of the disciples in Lucha Underground, that trio. So they're not broken up.
Right.
Although, I mean, come on. You'd pretty much find anybody, skinny Mexican luchador. There's plenty in LA alone.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, you could find, or in Mexico, there's plenty others. So it wasn't like going to be hard for them to replace him. So that's basically Mystico's storyline.
And to be continued, the career of Mystico.
Mistic 2.0. Mystico, he did mention he didn't mind Mystico keeping the name. But I'm guessing that if he ends up going full time to CMLL, I mean, that would be the ideal feud to start with,
that'd
right?
be great.
Let him end the Mystico and him take over the Mystico.
Well, and unlike the Sin Cara feud in WWE, they would know how to do it properly.
Well, I don't think it would be as good as the LA Park La Parka match.
Oh, God, no.
Where it's just a beatdown, because, I mean, I would feel bad for the other Mystico, because that guy would really, like... And then Mistic 2.0 isn't, like, the most... He's not, like... there's always a chance he's going to screw up.
Yeah.
And... you put in another guy who's really like always getting hurt. It sounds like something
I was
train wreck.
Okay, this is just something I was wondering, and
but the other thing, like the weird thing is, like I think when we're talking about Ingobernables, I don't know, we did in a podcast, but we were talking about Ingobernables and how there really isn't a top technico to feud with in CML for them besides Atlantis, because they haven't elevated anybody else. This guy kind of seems like the guy you would want to go against them.
That's true.
Although I don't know how popular he is with the fans now, because he's not, the DF crowd is kind of, the Mexico crowd isn't as...
Yeah, I mean, I heard when he made that return that...
But he's a big star going against other stars,
Yeah. I mean, I heard he got a good pop, not a thunderous, we missed you pop, but...
Yeah. He got a star pop.
Well, I was curious about this, and this whole... I mean, obviously...
You know what CML do? The first thing they do, they put him against Nero Casas and kill his heat. Kill Sin Cara's heat. Mystic. I like how I've now called him every single name. Mistic 2.0's name. They kill off his heat because everybody's going to cheer for Nero Casas.
Of course.
They all love him in that building, so they're going to cheer for him.
He's Ric Flair. He could be heel all he wants, but they're going to
cheer him. They got to put him with Nero Casas against Ingo Bernardes.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we don't know the exact negotiations for him getting near CMLL, and
I think it's going to happen similar to what happened with LA Park and Wagner.
Yeah, well, see, I'm assuming that he.
Although I don't think he's going to burn his bridge as quickly as.
No, I mean, I mean, this is just my opinion. I'm assuming that he's already negotiating with CMLL.
I'm guessing that's
and
right.
Well, because we talk. I know you're telling me that he doesn't have a lot of power, but Tony Salazar is a relative.
I said he didn't have a lot of power?
Didn't you?
Tony Salazar?
Or did I misunderstand what you said?
I didn't say he had a lot. Okay. You asked me if he was related to Mistic 2.0.
But he is, right?
I don't know.
Oh, Christ. Don't mess with the feeble minds.
It doesn't matter. He's Mistic 2.0. He's pretty much somebody that's coming in because of
Paco. But still, you're in AAA. You're going to go back to this promotion where probably, they're not...
It's not like Electroshock joining CMLL, who doesn't have any connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was I was going to say. I was wondering if, okay, we're fans.
Tony Salazar has other things to worry about. We'll be talking about in a bit.
Oh, okay.
He's got other important things to worry about.
No, I'm just saying,
than Mistic 2.0.
I'm just saying, and I don't know how close they are, but I picture, Mistic 2.0, Mystico, Miss Disease, saying, "Hey, Tony, can I come back?" And I picture.
Well, he doesn't have to ask Tony. It's basically Panico and all those. He just has to talk to Paco. Paco's are pretty. He's being allowed to work out Lucha Libre Elite in Arena Mexico.
Right.
So he's already talked to Paco or something. Yeah,
well, that's what I'm
higher up.
I just
he's talked to somebody higher up.
I just wish I know what the exact.
It's kind of like sports. When sports trades happen, there's the minor sports trades that happen between the general managers, the front office people. But the big ones, like the Shaquille O'Neals, the Michael Jordans, although he never was traded, the Dwight Howards, Barry Bonds, players that are huge stars. I'm telling you all these old time. I'm not going with any LeBron James.
Him. I'm not gonna.
If I say somebody current, just be like, I don't know who that is.
I only remember from the wrong reasons because they married a Kardashian.
The big stars. The big stars get dealt by the owners. The owners have to be involved, and that's how it is with wrestling.
But the thing is, wrestling promoters can tend to be a little more emotional and irrational when it comes to bringing or not bringing.
Well, I'm sure they ask the opinion of their programming department. But I mean, come on, you've seen CMLL. Building's empty. I'm pretty sure they're going to ask if Mistic 2.0 says I want to come back. They're going to be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but we know how strange Paco can be.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying Paco. If he's working that, Paco's okay with it.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking because he left.
It doesn't matter what
he left on shaky. This is just curiosity. This is not. He left on shaky terms, and they know he.
LA Park left in shakier terms, came back.
Yep. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah. I'm still curious.
Dr. Wagner Jr. Dr. Wagner Jr. said crap about Paco, and he came back.
Yeah.
And Paco rarely talks bad about other wrestlers. He actually talked bad about Dr. Wagner Jr. when he left the first time.
Yeah.
This time he didn't care.
Now, do you think this is a shift in Paco Alonso because he's well known for just?
I think he's probably wanting to generate more money or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because I don't really think this is, to me, this seems like a lot of the problems with CML. This is more like a short term type of thing. It's like a short term fix.
Yeah.
To a bigger problem, and the bigger problem is that they're not really developing their young talent. They have a lot of great young talent, but nobody's moving up. And it's not just their fault.
For every Rush and Sombra, there's a bunch of guys who have been kind of dog paddling in the.
Yeah, Girl Maya Jr. I mean, Dragon Lee should. He's worked main events. Some of these guys have worked main events, but it's the Tuesday show. But they're not being focused. They're not. They're not in a feud.
There's so much talent they could elevate, and
there's a difference. All these guys main event. There's 50 guys main event in CMLL. On a monthly basis, there's at least 40 or 50 guys who main event. They could work the third match, fourth match, semi-main, or main event. But some of those guys will move up and down. But they're not. They're really, Ultimo Guerrero is the only one that doesn't really go up and down the card.
Right.
He's the only one that gets focused on. He's the only one. Think about it. If you did that with Dragon Lee, people would start getting used to them as stars and maybe treat them as stars.
Oh God, yeah.
But they don't do that.
I think one of the most important things to tell somebody who wants to get into the wrestling business and, wants to get into it and, like a lot of people do, wants to be a star, wants to be big. The first thing they should know is you could be the most talented, most charismatic guy in the world, but the wrestling business is not rational, and it's not always fair.
And you know what I hate?
Dragon Lee should be elevated.
And you know what I hate most with wrestling is that, and this isn't just CMLL. This is like across the board. It's like, I could understand like young talent that's raw and not really good, but they may have something that they do well, and you want to move them up. Maybe you don't move them up because of this. So it may be when everybody says you got to give them like 3 years to move up, and then like another 3 years before they can be accepted as a star. And then it's like, but then there's always like that one or two guys who are the exception, like just really good.
Yeah,
get it. They get the wrestling. They get they have the charisma. They can do interviews. They should be main eventing.
Yes.
And CML had last year that En Busca del Ídolo. They had 3 out of the 4 guys who checked off all of those, who could do interviews. They conducted themselves well, had charisma, and they can work.
Hechicero,
Cavernario, and Dragon Lee. The Panther, the only thing he's not as charismatic as those guys. He doesn't do interviews as well because he's kind of a quiet guy, but he can work, and that's good enough to put him in main events too. So, but it's like weird. It's like you have all these guys, Puma, another guy who could talk.
Well, and that's like I'm saying
they keep with the same old guys. It's like, or they'll Thunder. I mean, seriously.
Oh Christ!
This is like the most ridiculous thing. Thunder, like this isn't even me being like hating on guys who can't work, who can't wrestle or anything. This guy wrestles. Like I constantly say it, he reminds me of like the Warlord. Guys from the 80s who weren't really that great in the ring. They weren't main eventing. They were in tag teams. They were like in the middle of the card. They maybe main evented once just to get squashed or get beaten by Hulk Hogan.
Yes.
But it wasn't them. Like they weren't building a year-long program around him.
Well, and that's like I'm saying. The business is not fair.
And it's not 1980s. It's not 1980s either.
Exactly. And it's true with, I think, any entertainment industry. But because I think of all, especially on Facebook, you see a lot of these indie guys who are really good workers, but they're aghast because, hey, somebody got this push and they haven't proven themselves. They haven't paid their dues. And that's just the way the business is.
Because they're just naturally good, There's
yeah.
And some of those.
And you can be naturally good and charismatic, but if the promoter doesn't like your face or doesn't like your look, guess what?
You're screwed.
Not going to get pushed.
And that's what happens with CMLL.
I mean, look at. Just think if WWE was never interested in Stone Cold Steve Austin, and his last hurrah was when Bischoff said, "You're not marketable."
Yeah.
I bet you there's a lot of guys who are good, and a booker or a promoter just says, "Nah, nothing we can do with him," and
they take offense to it, and it's like, don't get offended by it. It's like it's part of the business.
Yeah, you got to keep going back.
Yeah.
You have to have a thick skin to be in the business and
change. You got to change. You got to change with your look. Do something different to yourself. Like,
exactly.
Or maybe that's that. Like I remember,
and cross your fingers.
There's
it
a lot
might
of
work. It might not.
There's a lot of guys who like do some like they'll do like their match. And there's one thing they have to do all the time, and it doesn't work. And they'll ask you, "Hey, what did you think of my match?" It's like, "I like it, but why do you do that?" Like like somebody will ask me, "Why do you do that?" It's like, "Because it's cool." Yeah, but you don't do it well.
Exactly.
You don't do it well.
There's somebody who can do it better.
Like Dragon Rojo. Dragon Rojo does this drop kick off the ramp, and for some reason, he stopped for a while, and I thought, that's great, you stopped doing it. But every single time he would do it, he would land awkwardly because he has a bad leg.
Right.
He has a bad leg, and when he'd land, it looked like he would land on his back. It's like, you're just going to kill yourself doing that spot because you're not that good.
Yeah,
you're not Dragon Lee. You're Dragon Rojo.
And if you didn't do that spot, nobody would know.
Nobody's going to notice it. Nobody's going to notice it.
Yeah.
You're not. Marco does the dive, but you don't see him doing a completely different dive. Like he'll do like a plancha, but it's not like this. He's not trying to do tornillos. He's not trying to do all this other stuff. That's the dive he does. He sticks to it. So you have to know, and it's weird because you have a lot of this. I don't know.
Well, and so many.
I wish Thunder would actually do something that I could actually say, don't do that. But basically, walking is a problem for him. It's like just walking is a problem for him. It's like there's nothing. He's a big guy who got into wrestling. It's like he's just not good.
He isn't.
He's not. I don't know. Like I have no idea like what they could do with him. But it's like it's just.
Yeah, if it was an American promotion, I'd say put a suit on him and make him a big Bubba type.
Kane, turn him into Kane.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Have him stand around and do that stuff. But it's like I don't know. It's like it's weird with
It would be different if he was that lame, but people were going crazy over.
Well, it's kind of weird.
Reason.
Ultimo Guerrero was making a comparison, comparing Thunder to Strongman, and so everybody wrote. I strongly like a bunch of people. We disagree with this. You didn't write that, right? Somebody else wrote that.
No, but you know how I feel.
Yeah.
I love Strongman.
Yeah, and I'm like, Strongman at least had a character.
I look so forward to seeing him.
He had this car, like this old timey bodybuilder, like doesn't belong in
like
wrestling.
The circus
strongman. Circus strongman look. And actually, he didn't do a lot of that stuff. Like he wasn't trying to do he wasn't as bad as this guy. Like and he wasn't great. But he wasn't doing some of the stuff, like, at least he could walk.
Well, and he didn't have this monolithic big guy ego, which you rarely see. Because remember, he'd put over Prince Devitt clean.
Yeah.
No.
That wasn't clean. Devitt robbed him.
Was he vocal about that?
No, I was.
Oh.
I was very upset about that.
Well, I'm not the only John Strongman.
Strongman's shoulder wasn't on the mat.
It couldn't be on the mat. All those steroids and growth hormones.
So it was impossible.
See, that's the thing, is I never dreamed I would see the day where this guy who is a walking pharmaceutical...
But he did. He used to put guys over, and I mean, smaller guys, and he kept getting booked in Japan.
Yeah, and if I could tell you how many bodybuilders I met who would say, well, I know I'm not supposed to do a job because it will hurt my image.
How is this skinny guy from wherever he is going to beat me? Look at these muscles.
Yeah,
I'm much bigger.
Well, how is this guy going to magically bounce off the ropes if you fling him by the wrist and they'll magically fly over your head?
Yeah, so it's like...
Do you think it could be a work? Oh, gee, I don't know.
Yeah. Don't say that because wrestlers get upset when you say that.
They do.
Yeah. So we should continue with the Atlantis story. Atlantis, since we're talking about this, and this also involves Thunder. Atlantis won the 2015 Universal Championship from Ultimo Guerrero. Ultimo Guerrero... So there was interference from Thunder.
Mm-hmm. I heard about this.
Which resulted, and Ultimo Guerrero was very upset about this. Ultimo Guerrero appeared on CMLL Informa and decided to, he brought along a paperwork. Mm-hmm. And in this paperwork was his grievance. He filed a protest with CMLL over the fact that Thunder was allowed into the building when he wasn't supposed to be there, and caused him to lose the match. And he doesn't know. He basically thinks it was part of Tony Salazar's plan to cost him that match.
Oh, no way!
Because according to Ultimo Girl, Tony Salazar handles the security for Arena Mexico. So
that's why he has power.
Yeah, so he decided that he's going to sue Tony Salazar for costing him the Universal Tournament.
Now this is great.
Championship.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, so what I actually thought of was hilarious is that this ties into the, I don't know if you remember, but Tony Salazar and Ultimo Girl, when they did the En Busca de un Ídolo reality TV series a couple years ago, they actually didn't get along in the show. Mm-hmm. Not backstage, just in the story.
Yes.
They did the storyline where they didn't get along because Ultimo Girl was favoring everybody from from his area, the Laguna. Mm-hmm. And Tony Salazar was upset that he thought, "Hey, you're favoring all your guys from your area, but there's other talent in the area." Mm-hmm. So they would argue. They'd have all these arguments on the show. And one day, Ultimo Girl was very upset that Tony Salazar was training the guys without him. He shows up in his car. I think it was like one of these '80s cars. Drives right away, and nearly runs over Tony Salazar.
Oh my God!
And tells him to stay out of his business. That he's in charge. He's just there to tell him what to do. He's not there to train his wrestlers and everything. So I was just thinking about how that ties into this whole storyline. Mm-hmm. I basically gave you more of that, whereas CML probably isn't going to remember all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's hilarious. So I'm hoping they have Tony Salazar to rebuke.
Oh, that'd be great if they brought some.
Yeah,
I just love that
because I love Tony Salazar.
Yeah, even not knowing the backstory, I love
Tony Salazar is this grumpy dude, old guy, who tells it like it is. Like he's actually, I think he's great because a lot of the stuff, like you were talking about how he has power.
Yes,
his power isn't quite like the programming department power because he disagrees with a lot of the stuff that they're doing in CML. Like he was one of the guys complaining about how bad the judging was in En Busca de un Ídolo and all this other stuff.
He's very transparent.
Yeah, so
he doesn't put a happy face on the company.
So I'm hoping he does this where he just complains about Ultimo Guerrero, like why, like him. I'm hoping he says, "Why would I help Thunder of all people? He sucks." Although apparently. His son was one of the guys who told me Thunder was really good.
Okay, see, that makes me me even curious more, because I picture 2.0 Mystic calling CMLL, and then Tony Salazar says, "You want to come back? Are you going to be a jerk?
Are you going to leave us again?"
Yeah.
But see, the way these guys, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think we'd have to know what their contract situation, like the contracts they look like. Because it's like, I almost think they don't really have like this real, like, it must be a flimsy type of contract.
I was going to say, because Mystico making that move, it seems pretty brazen.
Because even when he went to WWE, I mean, all he did was wait.
Yeah.
I think he must have had a waiting period.
I picture those contracts that they hand out on indie shows that are Xerox saying, "I do not hold this promotion." And they're never notarized or anything.
Yeah. You signed it. It's like, yeah, it's not notarized.
Yeah, the first one I ever got, I signed it. I signed my name, Walter Mellon, and I handed it to them, and they didn't even look twice. So if a guy named Walter got hurt on the show.
Yeah, so that's what's going on. And Ultimo Girl was so upset with Thunder interfering that his solution to this whole problem is he wants a mass match with Thunder. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I mean, would I really want a singles match with Thunder?
No, but that's the thing.
My punishment.
That's what I noticed. Whenever I see matches involving Ultimo Guerrero and Thunder, almost all of Thunder's spots are done with Ultimo Guerrero.
Yeah, because that's
it's almost like Ultimo has this pet project. He wants to make this guy look good.
Yeah, I just wonder what's going to happen when he eventually drops the mask. Is he going to stay, or because I can't really see him getting any better.
Why don't we send a petition for it to be a loser leaves town match?
Wish.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I don't see him. I don't see it. Like I told you, like there's guys, there's wrestlers who I might have seen in the past that didn't look as good, and then you see them later and they're a lot better.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what you're going to do with him.
I mean, he's a little better in the first time, but that's not much.
No, he's not. He's a guy who couldn't run the ropes.
I know, but that's the scary part. He's still a little better than he was.
No, he wasn't.
Yes, he is.
No, he isn't.
Yes, he is.
No, he isn't. You're not watching then.
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Everybody else is telling you, they're going to tell you you're wrong. He's not as good as...
Let me tell you something.
He's horrible.
Let me tell you something.
Go watch Puebla and tell me.
Let me tell you.
Go watch his singles match with Cranio, which you're not going to be able to watch.
No.
So go watch his match in Puebla.
He's the worst wrestler I have seen in years. The worst.
And he's not better than he was.
No, that's so sad. He could at least stand up. He can't stay up, but he
can't even do that right.
He can't. No, he does nothing right. That's why I'm saying
he's not. It's
scary. It's scary because he sucks right now. Right now, he sucks worse than any wrestler I've seen since David the Jewish Giant in the early '80s. That's the worst wrestler I've ever seen in my life.
Okay.
He sucks that bad now. But he was even worse 2 years ago.
He's still...
Yes, he was.
No, 2 years ago. He's no different now from 2 years ago.
Was.
I think you're just basing it off one match that you've seen.
That might be.
The one good match that you saw in late December.
I've never seen a good match of his.
Yeah, he was in a match where he actually had a good... He wasn't good, but the match was good.
Actually, you know what?
Actually,
I have to defer to you. No. I have to defer to you.
Match.
I have to defer to you. He does look better because of who?
Que Monito? I don't know.
See, Que Monito's a better worker than
he
is. No, Ultimo Guerrero.
Yeah, because it really is. It's
No. And you know what? Yeah,
I mean, it's amazing. Like I'm telling you, like that one match I saw, I even mentioned it. I mean, I even wrote, has this guy improved? Because I actually thought he was good in the match. But then, like, you start watching him again, it's like, oh man, he's still bad.
No,
like,
yeah, I know. I totally. Well, I take back what I said. He looks better, but he's
I think
not
I don't know. Like, like we were saying, he just goes. It's like a muscle guy from the '80s. Like, it's like even when he runs.
And you know what? Yeah, I would.
I'm so used to now today's wrestling where it's like guys when they're gonna jump you, they actually run and jump you and do all this crazy shit. Yeah. And this guy just like walked towards the ring.
I'll go as far to say I can't think of many. I can think of maybe one muscle guy who stayed that bad, and that was just somebody on an indie level, not even a big star.
And you know, we've gone to indie shows. I've watched WWE. I haven't watched TNA. I haven't watched any of that stuff. I can't think of anybody who's worse than him.
Neither can I.
I mean, Pure Oath. But I mean, Pure Oath.
Well, that's a different
Pure Oath is a different type of bad. Canelo Costa is a different type of bad also. But I mean, those guys can move. Well, Canelo can move. Pure Oath can't. Well, yeah, Pure Oath. I guess it's Pure Oath and Thunder. I guess that's but there's a lot of guys. I mean, and there's a lot of bad wrestlers. It's not just them two.
But you know, yeah. Yeah, I correct myself on
as a main eventer.
On the air there.
As a main eventer, I don't think there's a main eventer as bad as him in anywhere.
There isn't, no.
Like women, men.
Let's put it this way.
If anybody can find a worse main eventer than Thunder, email Kurt at libre@aol.com.
Yeah.
Or send him a message.
Actually, I'd be fascinated to see.
Or tweet us and let us know.
I would be scared to talk about it too loud.
And you know what? I even watched Mil Mascaras in those on one of those early Legend shows, and he moved better than Thunder. And he's like 900 years old.
Yeah.
And he's I mean, it's sad.
But no, I
feel bad for Mil Mascaras. He's lost all his definition in his body.
It's sad. I saw him without a shirt
because he's old. He's old now,
and he doesn't know it.
He's old. I mean, he should be retired. Maybe he just can't make money. Like if he's not wrestling, I don't know. Maybe he didn't save any money.
Maybe not, but
I would think he would have enough money.
Just from what I've been told about him, I mean, obviously I don't know him, but I bet you he doesn't realize how old he is.
Yeah, because he just looks really old. And you know, Lucha Elite, that's one of their ideas. They want to bring in nostalgia. Mm-hmm. So Mil Mascaras, Dos Caras Sr. and Connect.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know. Well,
Connect broke his leg or something a couple years ago.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he's not as good as he used to.
Well, and here's the thing.
And he wasn't that good.
And here's the thing, like 10 years ago, it was nostalgia.
Yeah.
Remember when...
it was nostalgia, yeah, 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
15 years ago, Connect was nostalgia.
Yes.
15 years ago, when Connect would show up in AAA, it would be like, oh, here we go again.
You know, but Mascaras, I mean, it's kind of sad because, the guy with the big ego and stuff, but he did market himself well. I mean,
Villano
his big
3.
ego is probably where it...
Villano 3 and Triple Mania.
Was better than Thunder. You're right.
At least he has an excuse. He's had a stroke.
Yeah.
And, I mean, how old's Villano 3's got to be, like, in his late 50s, early 60s, probably? Late 50s, early 60s?
Well, let's put it this way. Weren't they...
He's in rough shape, though. He's got to be older than that.
And you know what? I feel so bad. I don't laugh and say
I think it's born in the 50s, so...
Well, I remember seeing 1 and 2 in the magazines when I was a kid, like in the early 70s. Which is when I first heard of Tony Salazar, too.
Someone's going to tell me he's 85 years old.
I would I never know.
Well, you know what it is? It's so weird because I'm so used, like, when Nero Costa's in Atlantis, you see, look at Atlantis, and he's looked great.
Amazing.
I'm tired of him, like, because there's only so much you could watch of his matches. Mm-hmm. But that's more CMLL, more of a product of CMLL than anything. But Costa's, he's like a...
I know you have freak. These two guys who are the fountain of youth.
Costa's 56, 50.
Yeah. But the Villanos, they love to gig themselves like crazy, and I gotta be honest, I haven't really paid attention. Did they get injured a lot? Were they guys who were reckless?
Well, one of them, remember he suffered that neck injury?
Yes.
With Raven and Canyon?
Mm-hmm.
That was like, remember that Raven and Canyon got so scared they were holding his head the entire time? Raven just held him the entire time.
Both Raven and Canyon got high marks on me because a lot of wrestlers, I'm sure, hated them.
Would have just kept kicking him and stuff like that.
Yeah, but they got points in my book for watching out for him.
Yeah, I thought that was like just Raven like looking worried for him. Like,
yeah.
Like, oh shit, if we broke his neck.
Well, and that's one of the things I really dig about Casas. One, I assume Atlantis too, is you guys, they're quality wrestlers, but they weren't like bumping crazy
Atlantis!
all
You know this the thing Atlantis was talking about on one of the recent shows he was on.
Mm-hmm.
He has never suffered a major injury in his career.
Really?
I was surprised. I was impressed.
Well, and even though Casas told us how injured he was,
Atlantis was saying that he's had minor injury, cuts, bruises. You hurt your leg.
Yeah.
It's like, but nothing that required surgery. He's never had surgery.
Awesome.
And I was like, wow, he's been in the business since the early 80s and never had a... Remember Larry Zbyszko saying, they're going to get hurt. All that flying, they're good.
I love it when you have a commentator who talks about something that they're not educated on.
Yeah, it's like, Larry, you just did stalling the entire time. Come on.
Yeah, exactly, and told people to shut up.
Yeah.
No, well, when you watch somebody like Casas...
Thunder doesn't move and he's already hurt his leg. I mean, come on.
And that's probably before he was a wrestler, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ultimo Guerrero. I get on my knees, I'm going to bow and kiss the mat he wrestles on.
Yeah.
Because he's doing what he can to make Thunder good. Yeah. And it fooled me.
We might have that as the main event for Dia de los Muertos, although we don't even know.
That makes sense because Thunder has passed away. He wrestles like he passed away years ago. La Momia had more animation than Thunder does.
So CML is running their Dia de los Muertos shows on October 30th and November 1st. Next week, right? Mm-hmm. They're actually going to run... The Friday show is going to be an iPay-per-view.
Okay.
That's why the Sunday show isn't Lucha Elite that week.
Okay.
Because it's going to be their Dia de los Muertos show. The second show. Those shows are actually pretty entertaining because they usually have they get all dressed up. They set up the entire thing to look like a like Halloween type of a festive type of thing. I'm kind of tired because they constantly bring up the two people who are handling the whole presentation and all that. They're gonna do it. It's gonna be on iPay-per-view. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell us the lineup, but you'll probably know by the time you listen to the show. They'll announce the lineup.
Right.
After the Friday show, they'll usually tell you what the following week is. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, it's a good show. I'm hoping it's...
It sounds fun.
Yeah.
Good or not, it sounds like a...
Yeah, the last year's show was really fun. I think they might have... I think the Sunday show aired on Terra. I think that was still going on Terra.com.
Now,
and then the Friday show aired on Azteca.
Now, you were talking about the geo-blocking on Claro Sports.
Yeah.
What's that about? Why would they block it from...
I don't know.
Our region?
It's blocked for everyone, but that's not going to be on Claro Sports. It's going to be on iPay-per-view.
Yeah, actually, I was just wondering. That was the kind of.
It's going to be only $6 too. So like.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, so it won't be bad. Like if it's, like I was saying, if there's two matches I like, I'm going to order it.
Yeah, I'm not going to bitch and moan for $6.
Yeah, I'm not going to bitch and moan. I wish they had a video on demand service because it's a Friday night. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I'm doing something else.
Absolutely.
Even I do other things,
I'm with the wife and kitties.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm actually that might be Halloween, isn't it?
Saturday, I think it was a Halloween.
So Saturday's Halloween? Oh, great.
Yeah.
Turn off the lights and leave that day.
We don't have to do that. We had candy for trick-or-treaters and not one came.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and we're in a suburban neighborhood.
Yeah, we get kids a lot in this area. But it's called Walnut Kills for a reason. I should actually decorate this year. I probably won't. Yeah, so...
Sounds good.
So everybody thinks Ultimo Girl Thunder might be the main event, but I think it's too soon. I think it's going to be something else.
Yeah.
They've been doing Sombra and Volador a lot lately, too, so there's some thinking that could be
That's one that I haven't gotten tired of.
Yeah, they could do, we've seen that live.
Yeah,
we've seen
that
on video. Like, I told Volador I just enjoy their matches all the time. Although I didn't really bring up Sombra with Volador that much. I'm surprised, the one thing
I just remember the chemistry between
the one thing you should be talking about. And that's the one thing you forget to ask.
Of course, and remember later when it's too late, when you're driving away.
You're distracted by the fact that you recognize his wife. It's like, is that his wife, Bruni? Yeah, so that's going to be an iPay-per-view for next week. We also got the news that Cadena Tres, the channel that airs the Tuesday CML shows.
Yes.
Apparently they might be going out of business.
Oh.
On Friday. So there may not be any more Tuesday Cadena Tres shows.
Wow.
So that's going to be... But, you know, if they go with the Lucha Elite shows for the Sunday show, those shows don't air on TV, then I think the Tuesday show would end up being switched over to the other, like, LA TV gets the show they get, and then Claro Sports gets another show for their television channel. So that might end up happening. But that's gonna be interesting what happens, because now in Mexico City there's not gonna be any there's not gonna be a major channel airing CMLL. Because that's actually that was a major channel. Everything else is on cable and stuff like that. It's kind of weird. It's a weird situation. I don't know if that's affecting. That might actually help attendance. You never know.
That's what I was wondering, because remember that was
what they always. I guess this gets to prove their point about whether or not that affects attendance or not.
It will prove, because remember that was the. I remember Alfonso Morales saying this a lot, that attendance is big because they don't give too much away on TV.
Yeah, and lately they've been giving out everything.
Everything, yeah.
Maybe they don't view that with the internet. Maybe it's different. No.
It probably is. Well,
they don't get a lot of people ordering.
Well, because so many jokes are made about how both WWE and TNA try to hype stuff through Twitter, when probably a fraction of their audience finds out about
Facebook is like, I don't really bother with Facebook.
That's my first.
I was having this discussion with Superboy about, we didn't record it, which we should have, because he was talking about how he wanted people to like the stuff he was posting.
Yes.
And I was telling him, I don't really care if people like it. I want them to click it and read what I'm writing or read what I'm posting.
Exactly.
Because, I mean, what's the point of somebody liking it? I don't care. Like, that just...
I forget half the things I like.
Because, I mean, and what, you know what's sad is Facebook started posting stuff, like, they created this thing where website clicks, and there's, like, posts that don't even get visited through Facebook.
Well, I have what, 900 and something friends, and when I post something, the most likes I've ever gotten off of one post, and this is just a photo, was maybe 100.
Yeah, but a photo.
And the typical one is 5 or 6 likes.
Yeah, because it's a photo. Like, photos always get likes.
Yeah.
But, like, when you post, like, a link to something, like a web page, a lot of people don't click on it to read it.
Yeah.
That's like, I like it. I saw a picture. I like it. And that's it.
That's the first thing I say to somebody who says they're going to do indies, is I say, don't rely on Facebook. But they always do.
Yeah.
They think that that's actual publicity.
And Twitter.
Yeah.
But you got to do, like, you do all of it.
Yeah.
You got to do all of it. All of it, and then you got to do everything.
And you got to let the people in the neighborhood know. There's a show in this neighborhood.
Well, you know, there's shows that happen here in LA that we don't even know about.
Exactly.
And they still do pretty well. Like that show that Carrie ran, the UIPW show.
Oh, yeah.
That I think it was a benefit show. It still had people.
Well, benefit shows can tend to have a lot of people.
But I think it's probably because they have sponsors and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we're also with the Tritone show. So many of the people who pay to get in are people who knew Tritone, had a connection with the business. A benefit show, it's sad when a benefit show doesn't draw many people, because you're doing a benefit and it looks like nobody cares for this person.
Imagine you did a benefit show and only like 5 people showed up.
I've seen something pretty close.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to reveal who it was?
Well, no, because it's not his fault.
Oh.
Gil's Gym, about in 1999, was rushed to the hospital. He had diabetes, didn't realize it. And, he was in the hospital for a while, cost him a lot. So they did a benefit show in the LA area that I guess went okay. I wasn't on it, but they did one in Pomona at that Fox Theater. Before it was refurbished. Which was actually a really fun place to have a show.
Yeah.
Fizzy and I would wander through the back dressing rooms, because it was built like in the 20s. And, you know, there's all this great... A lot of stuff was left behind that we just rummaged through. But, it was like announced there would be the show. Then they said it would be in Pomona. Then, maybe a week before, they said it would be at the Fox. Then, a few days before, they handed some flyers somewhere. And...
Was this the one with the wrong date? No, that was funny. The Pure Oath one.
Yeah, thank God that wasn't a benefit show. That was just plain funny. Yeah. They had the wrong date, and... This was a bummer, because Gil did deserve a really good benefit show, and I can't remember the name of the guy he was one of these fly-by-night promoters. Nice guy, but didn't understand this from that. And it was just a handful, a couple of rows of people, and most of them were friends and family. And he really deserved much better. Thank God he's okay and he's not destitute. But it was hard going to a benefit show, because remember Tree Tones, that place was packed.
Yeah, that was packed.
And
Reds was packed.
A good crowd. That was really good. And I remember Superboy's father. 2 straight weeks they had a benefit show, and both times it was packed. And there are so many wrestlers on the show. The one I worked on, every match except for the main event was an 8-man tag. That's how many wrestlers were on the show.
That would make a great a great skit for a show. Like somebody runs a benefit show, a wrestling benefit show, and nobody shows up.
They hate the person so much.
Yeah, they hate the person so much they didn't show up. It's just that one guy who always goes to every wrestling show.
They get FedExed poisons and such that the wrestler could take to expedite his demise.
There's only one guy that shows up, and he's like, "Where do I get my ticket?"
Yeah.
We both watched some of Heroes Inmortales this week.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yes.
We'll talk about Stardom in a bit, but. There was some other news, but I figured we'd go with Heroes Inmortales.
That's cool.
How much of it? You only saw 2 of the matches,
I just saw the women's match, and I saw Brian Cage and Macias versus Phoenix, and I forget the partner.
Alan.
Who?
Drago.
The Ever-Ready Cat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave you his first
gimmick.
Him to be... I gave you his first AAA gimmick, or probably the first one I heard of. Alan.
Alan?
Yeah, Alan, from the Barrio Boys.
Okay.
You don't even remember the Barrio Boys?
I remember the Barrio Boys, but not
You didn't know their names?
No.
Alan, Dennis, and Billy Boy?
Okay, I remember the Dennis because I remember
the C.
The C. D-E-C-N-I-S.
I remember we would constantly ask people, "What's the deal with Deckness in this department?" I want to interview him, because he comes here sometimes.
I'd love to know it.
I want to know why they named him Deckness.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to know the reason.
The C is silent?
Yeah, the C is silent. Because that was... Remember, Peña was doing that with a lot of names. Remember, there were a couple of names where they were all misspelled.
Yes.
Some regular names, they're why is that name misspelled? So we would always, joke about it. Yeah, I always liked that trio. It's so funny.
Yeah, although Drago... No matter how much he's good on, I'll give every one of his matches a star rating, but he automatically loses a star because he's not Gato Ever Ready anymore.
Well, it's funny because a lot of people there's so many people who are just getting into Lucha because of Lucha Underground.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And outside of Mexico, they the last 2 years, they always are like, man, CML AAA has all this young talent, and I like Drago. I'm like, Drago's been around for well over 15 years. And they're like, really? I go, yeah, he's been around since probably 20 years maybe. And they're like, really? How do you know this? It's he was Alan, Drago, Gato Eveready, and that's you're talking about the Alan character was for 10 years, his character.
Yeah.
Then Gato Eveready for 3 years basically. Then he became Drago. Wow, really? And they're just surprised. Aerostar, they're oh, Aerostar's so young. Aerostar, he's been around since 2004 or 2005, I think. Maybe even before that. Really? He's that old? But there's some guy Phoenix is young, Pentagon Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, but Drago is really good though.
He is. I do like him a lot.
Yeah, he's a guy who's actually improved over the years. You see the progression.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what wrestlers should be. They should improve. But like I was telling you, some guys you just don't see. You don't see them really they're not going to grasp the improvement.
And different reasons. Some it's motivation. Some just don't get it.
Some just aren't that good.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. Exactly.
Well, I'll even use Marco Corleone as an example. There were people Jim Cornette talks about him being horrible in when he was in WWE, when he was in the developmental and all that. Which I don't know. I saw Marco Corleone before. Probably Jim Cornette saw him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it was that bad.
Right.
When he was in WCW.
Mm-hmm.
He was already pretty good. He wasn't great.
Right.
But he wasn't I actually think
green but potential.
He was green.
Type?
He was green.
Yeah.
And then the one thing I thought the biggest mistake for him was that they brought him up so soon. Because he was really good when he was working with the undercard guys.
Yeah.
But then they they were losing so much talent and all this stuff. They needed to bring in new people. They moved them up, and he just
wasn't ready.
He wasn't ready.
Yeah,
and he looked really bad. And then, like in WWE, he just never really
I really enjoy watching him work, and I mean, just based on the matches I've seen,
he's not great, but he's not bad.
He's not bad, but
he's actually good.
And also, I think there's a lot of people who would think he's limited as far as just
in Lucha, especially
his in-ring work, but he's really playing into his personality and his character, and I
that's where he's improved. He's developed the character. He's more. He shows more personality in Lucha than he did in.
I know some people disagree with him, but I think that's just as important as your technical work.
Yeah.
In fact, I think it might be more important than your.
And
technical
really,
work.
if you look at his wrestling, it's not like this complicated thing. I mean, the punch, a dive.
And that doesn't bother me.
Does poses, but he does it so well.
Exactly.
It just fits.
If it gets over.
It fits. He lets the other guys do what they're going to do.
And he doesn't have to do reckless topes that most American up-and-comers want to do because they think it's going to get over. You need to get over with something that's not going to wreck your body.
And he's actually 40 now, which is...
He's 40?
Yeah.
Damn.
He looks good for a 40-year-old.
Yeah,
I should mention Marco and his girlfriend...
married, right?
Miroslava Luna are getting married. They're engaged.
And they've been together a long time, I heard.
I think a year, probably.
Wow.
A little more than a year, probably.
Oh, that's very cool. That's awesome.
Good luck with that.
Wrestlers in marriage.
Wrestlers in marriage.
So, anyways, I saw the women's match.
Yeah, we should start with the women's match. I actually saw 4 of the matches. I haven't watched... I'll tell you ahead what I haven't watched. I haven't watched Copa Antonio Peña, and I haven't watched the trios match with Mysticis and Rey. Opposite sides, which had Garza Jr., Hijo del Ninja, re-gimmicked as Garza Jr., a tribute to Hector Garza. They're related.
Right.
But the women's match, what did you think of the match? Especially coming off of watching a bunch of women's wrestling this weekend. I was like, I'm watching more women's wrestling?
Well, when I watched that match, since I...
Because you weren't familiar with a lot of the 3... You were familiar with Taya and Goya Khan because they were familiar.
Well,
the other girls were new.
And I couldn't here honestly go over each woman. I was so unfamiliar with them. But, as you know, I have watched very little AAA, so the only thing I was really comparing it in my mind to was the Triple Mania show. So this looked amazing to me.
Yeah, this match alone was already better than Triple Mania. I was like, holy shit, this is already better than Triple Mania.
Yeah,
Yedra is Sangre Chicana's daughter.
Oh, really?
One of the other. Oh. His other daughter's Yuvia from CMLL. And then you're probably thinking, how come the bad one's in CML? But they're actually both kind of the similar.
Yeah.
They're very, they're okay. They're not great.
Yeah, well.
But this one made it work in this match.
I thought it was enjoyable.
Maravilla is another one. I think she's an indie girl. She was an indie. And Lady Shani used to wrestle as Sexy Lady.
Okay.
I think you might have seen her before.
Yeah, I have, actually.
But you know what I noticed with her when she was Sexy Lady? She wrestled very upright. Like she was very straight when she would wrestle.
Right. Almost like didn't know a wrestler's
yes, like kind of like it didn't flow. Like she seemed mechanical.
Yeah.
But now she looks in this match. She looked great. She was the best one. I thought she was the best one in the match.
Yeah, she was good.
I thought she was really good in the match.
I can't remember.
Goya was a lot better in this match than the match. The mixed tag match, and I think that was before Triple Mania, right? Because there was one.
I just saw the Triple Mania.
Okay, so she had a mixed match where she looked. Well, her debut, her first match in
AAA.
In AAA, it was like this weird mixed match, and she just didn't fit in.
Well, the Triple Mania match, is the
Triple Mania match. What was that?
That was the one. It was the mixed tag.
Okay, yeah, yes, that was another one where I thought.
Well,
that was the one that I thought she didn't fit in the match.
Yeah, and the thing I remember is I enjoyed Goya Kong. I know she's not this great technical worker, but I think she works her gimmick well. Yeah. I like her.
She's got a good. She works the gimmick. She's a pork. She's basically a female super porky.
Yeah, she plays on it.
Yeah,
and
it works.
And it's like we said.
You know what it is? She's gonna work for the crowd. That's gonna be just casual fans.
Exactly.
Us hardcore fans who are going to critique stuff, we're not going to really appreciate her as much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
unless she does like a and you know sometimes you can't because in this match she was really good. I mean
she was and
she wasn't bad.
When I saw that Triple Mania match, you see, I had not seen her since CMLL, and the first thing I thought is, oh my god, what happened to her? She
looked out of
out of place, and I said, well, and that was my first thought: is she just out of place, or is she really gone downhill? But it was nice seeing this match because she was Goya again.
Yeah, you know? I actually liked. I said Lady Shani. Yedra was okay. Maravilla was actually pretty good too. They did this one spot. I think you saw it. Where I think it was. I can't remember. I think it was either Lady. One of those three was like standing on top of one of the girls, and the other girl was underneath, like with her head down.
Yes.
And then the other girl did the German suplex. I was so scared of seeing that move.
I freaked out. One, because
if it's Pentagon Jr., Jack Evans, and Phoenix doing it, I'm not even worried about it. But these three girls, I mean, I don't even know what their experience level is.
Well, see, that's what my thought is. I was not familiar with most of them.
Lady Shani, I'm kind of familiar with, but I mean, like I said,
but I wasn't. And the first thing I thought is, oh, please be careful.
Yeah,
it's like,
I was like, holy shit. Or if it was Marcella and Zuxis doing it, I would believe. Well,
that's different. Those are like
pros.
Veteran women wrestlers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I was a little nervous.
Taya was okay.
That was the first time I saw her. I dig her. I mean, I dig her.
That was the first time you've seen her wrestle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't watch a lot of AAA. And that's not because I don't like it. It's just I'm so into...
I should make a joke about her being the worst one because she was trained by Lance Storm. But I won't. She wasn't bad in this match. I'll give her credit. She was really good in the match. Like, the match had a good flow to it.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad match. The tag match that followed was a lot better, though. Drago Phoenix versus Brian Cage and Macias. Really enjoyed that match.
I have to say, I really enjoyed Cage and Macias as a tag team. I thought their heel chemistry was great.
Here's what I'm thinking: they got to put them versus Jack Evans and Angelico.
Oh,
in a tag match.
That would be sweet.
I think that's the tag team they should stick around with for a while with Cage and Macias.
And Cage, it didn't seem like they're trying to do that killer, menacing heel that does plies and he
seemed more grounded. He seemed more grounded in this match.
Yeah, and just getting he and Macias getting heat with the referee and stuff. I thought they played so well. I just really enjoyed that match.
Yeah, Drago Phoenix, the Chikara,
and it was one of those
2/3 of the Chikara's King of Trios. They kept bringing it up,
and it had me feeling a little bit like a kid because I was really wondering. I think toward the end I knew that they were going to go over, but at one point in the match, it kind of felt like Drago and Phoenix go over. I thought it had a lot of good elements of new and just old school psychology in it. I know not everybody digs that, but child of the 70s, I do.
Then I watched the AAA tag match, tag title match, which was Angelico, Jack Evans versus Joe Leader, Pentagon Jr., and Steve Payne versus Daga. Steve Payne was great in this match. Jack Evans was really good in this match, too. Pentagon Jr. was also great. Actually, everybody in this match, Joe Leader does his own thing. He brought in thumbtacks, did all that stuff. I was kind of worried about guys just... Like, Jack Evans was doing... There was a few spots where Jack Evans was doing where he was getting dropped on his head. Where I thought, man, I hope he doesn't land on the thumbtacks. That's not good for him. Although he's married now, so he doesn't have to worry about that. He's got a kid, so he doesn't have to worry about he's got his woman, so he's already got. He could be ugly. He could be a scarred up freak. But Steve Payne was really good in this match. Thought he was great. Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr. does a great job of being a bully in a match. Just great. Jack Evans selling is great all the time. In
fact, the only bad Jack Evans match I ever saw was Triple Mania. I've never seen a bad Jack Evans match
and that wasn't his fault. It was the way they made they put it in the cage. But that match was really good. Then I watched Alberto versus Johnny Mundo. I liked the match, but I hated the finish.
And the finish was?
The finish was I think Alberto had Johnny Mundo trapped in the move. They knocked out he had him in his Fujiwara armbar. They knocked out Rafael Maya, the referee. So Hijo de Tirantes comes out. Johnny Mundo grabs the guitar, hits Alberto with it, and gets DQ'd. Which, I mean, that's fine. Yeah. But I just thought it was silly because they did so much other stuff where you should have been DQ'd.
It was like one of those ECW matches where they use every weapon in the book and then...
You get DQ'd at the end.
Yeah.
DQs just don't work for me. And then, like, the guitar, why is Johnny Mundo got a guitar in the match?
Maybe he's having an affair with Jeff Jarrett?
Maybe he's Jeff Jarrett. You had Jeff Jarrett. I did like that they went into the crowd and Johnny Mundo grabbed some potato chips and threw them at Alberto. That was one of those rare things. So then the match they attack. They decide to attack. The heels decide to attack. Who was it? Alberto and Psycho Clown. Rey Mysterio comes in to make the save. They attack Rey Mysterio. Mystices comes out and attacks Rey Mysterio. Then La Sociedad comes out and attacks Mystices. Because Mystices in the tag match, I should mention, the tag match, Mystices came out and cost the tag titles for Pentagon Jr. and Joe Leader. Mm-hmm. And they were already aligned with him. Right. But he ran in and helped. He pulled, I think at one point, one of the guys had, I think it might have been Jack Evans who was getting pinned, and he pulled him out. Mm-hmm. He pulled out Pentagon Jr., and that caused them to get distracted and chase Mystices. So then Steve Payne and, or I can't remember who else was the one that was wrestling Jack Evans, and that's how they won the match. Right. But, Mystices, the bad thing is I saw the Mystices turn, or the Mystices attack the show on the show prior to that. Yeah. It wasn't in order. I probably should have watched the show in order to, like, kind of go with that. Gotcha. Because I was watching the TV version. It's so funny,
the first thing that I'm thinking as you're telling me this is I think of that...
Maybe that's why he laughed. Like, I don't get it. Why are they turning?
Well, when I think of the Mystices Rey Mysterio match in Triple Mania, that overthought finish where everybody's turning on one, and then you're telling me about this finish. That's like the type of finish you do to hype a pay-per-view rather than main event a pay-per-view.
It was just weird, and I was like, oh, yeah. And then it's made it worse because the guy laughed.
Yeah, exactly.
So then you're like, man, we didn't even talk about the Alberto Mistic 2.0. If that had anything to do with him leaving CML.
I would be curious.
AAA.
I'd be curious.
Because I'm curious if that. I'm guessing that. I mean, come on, you can't have. They were in separate lockers. They couldn't see each other or anything. I mean, there had to be something to it.
Well, I was thinking,
And, with Alberto, the WWE rumors also going around.
I was thinking maybe
that's gonna suck for AAA.
That would really suck.
Alberto leaves, and then Mistic 2.0 gone.
And it'd be be bad for AAA.
Short term, the thing is, short term it would be bad. But if they still have Rey Mysterio, you're getting Rey Mysterio versus Pentagon Jr., Tejano Jr. They still have really talented headliners. Yeah. So that's not going to be all.
Pentagon Jr., I think they should push to the stars personally.
Yeah. I mean, we said that before, like years ago.
Yes. Well, like you said, he's a great bully. He looks generally sadistic in there. Like even a smart fan, I think, would get pissed off watching him.
Well, everybody likes him. That's the problem because he's so badass.
Yeah. I bet if you put a little adjustment on.
Because even if Alberto left, think about it. They still have Johnny Mundo. They have Rey Mysterio to use whenever they want. They have other guys to bring in from the indies. But then they also have Pentagon, Junior, Phoenix. They have a good undercard, Psycho Clown.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everybody even understands everything's totally worked. You can still get mad at a heel. It's like, a friend of mine at work, I turned him on to like the old Phil Hendry show, and for those of you who don't know who Phil Hendry is, he's a radio show host who had these really controversial and wacky guests on his show. And people would call in very angry and upset at what the guest was saying. But the guest was actually him, like, doing a voice. He's interviewing and being the guest at the same time.
It's like that. Do you ever see Saturday Night Live when they had Jimmy Fallon with, I can't remember who, I think it was Ben Affleck. And they were doing the radio disc DJ character. And so both of them were radio DJs, but the other guy had just been fired and was there as a guest. So then, when it was Jimmy Fallon's turn to do like a commercial break or news, he would go to his the news person, which happened to be a character he created. Yes. So then Ben Affleck wanted to do his thing, so he had his characters come in. So they had this whole argument with their characters.
Oh, that's great! That's great.
It's hilarious. It's a great skit.
Well, and the funny thing is. When I gave my friend some MP3s, and he's listening to it, and he's saying, saying, you know what, I was laughing at because I knew it was fake, but I was also getting really angry and wanted to kick the guest's ass.
Yeah.
And I'm saying, wait a minute, this guy's fake. But I still think a really good...
Well, it's kind of like this podcast. We're not really two people on the show.
That's right.
It's just me doing your voice.
Exactly. You're me.
And I am you.
Oh my god, do I exist or do you exist? Wait.
It's like the whole...
I'm going to pinch myself.
We better not even joke about that because wrestling people are actually kind of...
Yeah.
Confused.
Sensitive.
No, they get weird about that. They get confused with all that stuff. Remember Conan? Conan didn't know about Rob Biharia and the Cubs fan being two different people.
Oh, that's right.
He kept thinking they were the same person. Well, you know what it is. Well, you know what it is. It's because people look at like websites and they think it's a group of people that work on the websites. So like they'll go on my site. They think you, Chris, and myself. We all write on the website, but it's really just me like getting your stuff. Posting.
Oh, yeah. Well, and also, I was.
Although you guys do more. I mean, it's this is different because Cubs fan is basically he does everything on his.
Oh,
website.
exactly.
You guys contribute to my site. Mm-hmm. That's different. Whereas he does it on his own. So then when he gets stuff from other people, but it's like he's the one doing he's not getting people writing stories for him and doing that.
Exactly.
Whereas I do that. So he people would complain be like, oh, Rob's doing that. I was like, no, they're two different people.
Exactly.
Rob doesn't like to write as much as Cubs.
And I bet even when people do know that they're two different people, they get them confused. So, well, I was surprised there was actually a few people. One, I didn't even know any.
And they're not the only ones. There's other people that would like Conan was the most obvious one, but there are other people who actually thought they were like.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. I was surprised. I thought nobody knew who I was either. There was a couple of people who actually said, "Oh, Vandal Drummond and Kurt Brown are the same person."
Yeah, no, I told you about that.
You told me. Yeah, that's the first time I ever heard about it.
Yeah, I was like,
and
wow.
I came across one other example where somebody actually wrote me says they're writing me as Kurt Brown saying, "Are you the wrestler Vandal Drummond?" And they thought it was two separate entities.
Yeah, because I mean, they know you as Kurt Brown, the wrestling historian.
Yeah. And
then they forget that he wrestles because I guess they think. Oh, I'm guessing Matt Farmer and other guys Brian Alvarez, guys who have wrestled, who are now like considered historians or wrestling journalists. I air quotes.
Yes.
They must think that you guys didn't wrestle or something like that, or it's like
probably. Yeah.
They just think it's.
Well, I remember Brian Alvarez when I was a guest on one of those podcasts. He says, for some reason, I don't remember the name Kurt Brown, and well, that's kind of why I use Vandal Drummond. Kurt Brown is the most just dull name.
Did he know you as Kurt when he?
Yeah, he first met me as Kurt Brown.
Yeah,
and he says when somebody says Vandal Drummond, I think of it right away. But he says it took a long time for Kurt Brown to kick in.
Yeah,
and he's trying to be polite, but I said it's the most homogenized name you've ever heard. It's a blockhead name. Like it's the next worst thing than calling me Charlie Brown.
Yeah,
like that blockhead shirt. Kurt Brown.
So I actually liked from what I've seen from Heroes Inmortales, I thought the show was good. Mm-hmm. It was worth whatever people pay to watch it. Mm-hmm. It was worth it.
Cool.
Although I mean, they show it to you for free later on, so it's like maybe not as worth it as I think. As many things. AAA is gonna start running weekly shows in Guadalajara. Mm-hmm. It's a project that they're calling Mexican Madness Lucha Libre Nights, which sounds interesting. It's like I'm guessing it's gonna be like that old show that they used to do, like with I don't know. It's probably just
is it like Havana Nights?
I'm guessing it's just gonna be a weekly show. Who knows? I saw the video that they created for it, so it's like I have no idea.
That's cool.
It's probably just another
like most wrestling. Wait and see.
Yeah, just this is actually news that probably a lot of people aren't. Daniel Ledesma, known to us as Danny. Mm-hmm. He's the guy who used to promote and book Chilanga Mask.
Okay. He's
now left. He's parted ways with Chilanga Mask, and he's going to continue running his own group called Lucha Memes.
Mm-hmm. Lucha Memes. I love that name.
That's a because he was doing all the memes and everything. Yeah. So he started running shows as that.
That's a great name.
That, and Chilanga Mask is going to do their own thing. I have no idea what they're going to do.
Well, I guess it's going to show how much Chilanga Mask was his baby.
Yeah, because I mean, I always thought he was like the main guy. Because a lot of very creative guy. I mean,
that's cool
for wrestling. So I always wanted him to just like be like CML. Like if they're gonna give somebody a date to run a show, let him run one of the shows. See what he gets.
Somebody knows what they're doing. Let him have it.
And Electroshock is staying in AAA. There was a brief period in this is another social media. We're talking about the social media thing. He wrote on his social media that he was looking for bookings, indie bookings. Any promoters interested, they could contact him on his Facebook page. And the next day, that post was removed. And what we saw was him standing at the altar at the Antonio Peña Memorial.
No way. That's great.
Yeah. So what happens next? He gets to work the main event.
Oh, that's
of the AAA show. Why? Because Mystices wasn't there.
What a struggle.
So one man,
timing was everything.
Yeah, so
timing was everything.
So you figure he kind of lucked out in that. He would have been screwed. He would have been although right now I think isn't that bad of a time to be an independent because you're getting bookings in the US a lot now.
Well, also
because we've seen some really questionable guys being booked in the LA.
Well, I was going to say, am I remembering correctly? There was a while where it was a terrible time. Not too long ago, it was a terrible time to be an indie wrestler.
Yeah, like when Cibernetico was.
But now you could actually make an okay living doing that, can you? I mean, not a great living.
Depends on what you mean by living.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You get in wrestling. That means you get
paid
a little bit of money.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is they're getting booked in the U.S. and outside of Europe and stuff like that. You get guys going South America also, different places. They're going all over the place now. So Canada.
Yeah.
Pentagon Jr. is going to work in Canada.
Very cool.
I guess we should talk about the Stardom show we went to.
Yes, definitely. It was you, me, Fisico Nuclear, and Dan Farron went to hang out. And
they had two shows this past weekend. The Friday show in West Covina, and then the one we went to in Baldwin Park.
Baldwin Park?
Yeah.
At the Esther Snyder Community Center.
Yeah, which was like this weird-looking church-looking place.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
Nice place.
I
kept joking. People are probably wondering, why are all those guys in black shirts standing outside?
Yes!
I was the only person not wearing a black shirt at that thing. Everybody was wearing...
What was I wearing?
You were wearing a black shirt.
Oh, my MC5 shirt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Black shirt.
Yes.
I was wearing my Star Wars red shirt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
I try not to wear black. I try to go gray and red, blue. I still wear black, but it was hot too, so it wasn't something I was gonna
Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot how well organized Japanese shows
Very organized, the show.
I loved it. It reminded me of the time I went to Japan, and first thing when you walk into even the small arenas, there's these gimmick tables.
Yeah, well, as soon as you entered.
Yeah.
Gimmick table entrance. One of the girls, Stardom, Chelsea, was there at the table. I was the only one who knew her. I think you guys were like, who is that?
And I'd never been to this place. I thought
she didn't wrestle. She was scheduled to wrestle, but I guess she must have got hurt in the last show. Or they probably had too many. They kind of didn't want to have too many people working. Because she was doing a lot of the ring girl the ring boy type of things where they grabbed the streamers and stuff like that. And they had like a bunch of Japanese dudes handling the merchandise also.
Yeah,
but every girl had her own like gimmick spot too.
Yes, and the girls were there individually to sell them.
Early on they weren't, but I think they brought in a couple of them early on. Then during the show, some of them would come out, and then at the end, that's when they were all there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a really good time. I enjoyed it a lot.
That was fun.
That's a nice building to run it too. I was really picturing a smaller place, like a little.
Yeah, we saw some people. I saw the guy who promotes the WWS in Mexico at the show.
You're telling me.
Eric Van Wagenen and Marty Elias, the referee.
Yes.
Were at the show. Who else was at the show?
I saw some of my old buddies.
A lot of local guys.
A lot of local guys. El Maestro, Sergio Baez, and Kevin Lyon.
Kevin Lyon, I keep forgetting. Like
he was Ultra Taro.
No, and I always forget that he actually. I know he's met me and we've talked all the time.
Yes.
But it's like I always think, I haven't seen him in a while. He probably forgot who I am.
And he's one of those.
But he's kind of like Conan, like always remembers people. Yeah.
Yes, and he's one of those guys where I won't hear, I'm coming to the show or anything. I'll just be at a show.
Yeah, you see him, like, hey.
And there he is.
Yes.
Like, wonderful guy. It was really great seeing him.
It must be the Kevin name where they're all like really easygoing guys. Like,
that's true.
Good-natured.
So, if you're thinking of a baby name, whether it's a
guy... Go with Kevin.
Yeah, even if it's a girl. Name her Kevin.
Yeah. Good to see him, too. Like, he was wearing a cool shirt. I noticed his Cadets del Espacio shirt.
Yes. Oh, he has some of the most eclectic tastes.
Yeah.
my friend Hansu in Georgia turned me on to this just very trippy, surreal band called the Pugs, who, I mean, cult following type of stuff.
Yeah.
He described them as surf music on LSD, and that's a great way to describe it. And he turned me on to them in the late 90s, and I posted something on Facebook about them about 6 months ago, and Kevin Lyne does a comment like, I actually saw them in concert here in LA. I'm like, what?
Wow.
I remember there was an incredibly strange show where he came not to see the wrestling, but to see the musician Andre Williams, who he knows all these very
and he was Taro too.
He was Taro too, but yeah, he's
you know, people are listening to the show. They're probably thinking, "Why don't you guys ask him to do the show or something like?"
He probably would. He probably would, and he has this very, very eclectic musical taste. A lot of cutting edge stuff, a lot of esoteric stuff.
Because people always
really fun guy.
Because I think a lot of people want us to like because there's PWG so popular, and there's a lot of guys here who like kind of were the early start for PWG, like Superboy, Kevin. There's a lot of guys that are.
You know, we should think about that. He'd be a fun interview. He's a fun guy. Somebody.
He'll say no. I refuse to do
the bitter side of Kevin Lyne.
Yeah,
I've not seen before.
I've moved on from the business. Yeah, like a lot of those guys. Disco Machine was really cool. Also.
Yes,
a lot of those early guys. So we saw the Butcher. Not to be confused with Abdullah the Butcher.
Oh, and I had not seen him since those Fit shows years ago. He's the one where I did the interference as Lucky Pierre, and I did it by
biting him,
grabbing him from behind. No, I stuck my face up his ass.
Oh, jeez.
And he remembered that. He says, "I got to get you back for that." You know. I go, well.
Yeah, it's so cool. It's so weird. Like you have some wrestlers who are very like jaded, and then it's always fun to talk to the guys who are kind of like,
exactly.
You know, we had a good time and stuff like that.
They went in there without these huge expectations.
Yeah. They have a good time. They still go to shows. They have fun at the shows.
Yeah.
They're not nitpicking everything.
Exactly.
I didn't even see where Kevin went and sat when we went back in.
Neither did I.
I was like, it's like he shows up.
It was an intermission. He popped out of nowhere.
Yeah, then he just disappeared. But you know what it is? Because he's probably more known than we are in this area. So
probably, yes.
Well, definitely more known than I am. I try to stay incognito in all these shows.
You're very good at it. We like to expose you.
Jake was there, Black Metal.
Yes, that's right. Joey Ryan.
Joey Ryan was there. We should just go through everybody that was there.
You know, it was almost a who's who of local.
Vandal Lucha was there.
Who's that?
Vandal Lucha.
Oh yes, Roger. He was there. Yes.
Roger was there.
Another really nice guy.
Yeah, another guy. I saw him. He's like, "Hey, where's the Güero?" I'm like, "Oh, he's over there."
And every time I see him, I say, "Where's the Wildcat?" We haven't seen George Wildcat.
Yeah, I know. It's weird because like I don't know, like the Lucha people, I know them
exactly,
but like the people who are like going to indie shows, like I've seen that person in indie shows, but I don't really.
They're familiar faces,
but I don't talk to them.
Yeah,
but like at Lucha shows, we always end up talking to these guys, or like we're around them so often they feel more comfortable talking to us.
And that's what's fun. At least, just in my experience, Lucha shows it seems like a familiar atmosphere. Even if you only attend 2 shows a month, you know.
Yeah.
You remember people, they remember you. It's just, I don't know, it's a party.
That Chris Wolf was very outgoing on it, like nonstop.
Oh,
like,
yes.
The girl, the Stardom wrestler. I thought she was Japanese. Then she's like,
I thought she was too.
She's from Chicago or something.
Yeah.
Like, I know we were looking through Dan's booklet. Oh, Dan Farron bought a Stardom booklet.
Yeah, no, I thought I wish I did.
And we ended up making fun of him.
Of course. And I wish I bought one now.
Actually, I didn't. He got an autograph from Chris Wolf, I think.
That's cool.
Which he was happy about.
Now,
the matches.
They were
all good.
They were all good. There was nothing bad. Even the most. You couldn't even call a match mediocre. Even the greener girls looked good.
Yeah, because even the Chris Wolf versus Santana Garrett match. Mm-hmm. Santana Garrett, I mean, I've only seen her from that time we went to Cauliflower. The broccoli
convention.
Cauliflower Alley Club convention. Mm-hmm. And I don't think I saw her wrestle that day. I think I might have. I think she wrestled a three-way match.
Oh, okay. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I remember seeing her there, but
we saw. Yeah, and I think, but she was apparently she was in TNA. I obviously never saw her in that.
Yes, neither does anybody else.
Yeah, and so
nobody watches TNA.
But you see this pretty white girl, and you're thinking, man, she can't be that. she can't be that good. And she was actually pretty good. I mean, she's gonna start working wrestling in Japan for Stardom.
That's cool.
Which is cool. They're taking Datura also.
Mm-hmm.
Datura.
They are taking Datura.
Yeah, Datura.
Cool.
Datura was on the show. Thunder Rosa was on there. Datura is a local luchadora.
Yes.
I kind of feel bad for her because for so many years, for at least a year, we would see her at shows, but she never got booked, like because there was no other women on the shows.
There wasn't. It almost kind of seemed.
Because I kept wondering, who is this? Like, Matt, I thought, man, she's a super fan.
It was very limited, her bookings, and it almost. I mean, I get the
because I know, she would be backstage shaking hands.
Yes.
And wrestlers shake hands with everybody, whereas me, I'm like, if I don't know you, I don't really feel compelled to really go out of my way. And she extends her hand to shake my hand. Like, I shook her hand. I'm like, who the hell is that? Well, and then I found out, it's Datura. Okay, she wrestles.
Well, and it's kind of refreshing because we see her on a lot of these shows, and she's usually
very friendly too.
Very friendly. Well, and that's the thing is sometimes when there's one woman who's a regular at the shows and she has a different opponent each month, they kind of get a big head, think they're, she doesn't seem to have that.
No,
problem.
She seems fine. There's not a lot of women for her to wrestle here, anyways.
Well, but that's what I mean.
Although lately there's been, at this show, I guess there must be more.
But that's what I mean. When you're the only woman and you get a different opponent each month, you kind of think you're special. That's my experience with some
women. With female wrestlers.
On an indie level.
Yes, on an indie level. Not in real life.
No, but this is cool because I think this will be her first real experience.
Yeah, because
people.
Here, how often was she, like we said, how often is she getting booked, and then you had to get that one person. You can only learn
so much.
Yeah, and from what Eric Van Wagenen was telling me, he was very impressed with a lot of the women on the show. And they've been talking about getting more women. I did see him talk to Thunder Rosa. Mm-hmm. Who I actually thought had a really cool look. She looked a little green in the ring, but she's only been in the business. Agree. Yeah, Shayna Baszler versus Cheerleader Melissa was great. I think Dan Farron was the one that was mentioning he's heard WWE's interested in Shayna Baszler.
That's great. I'm surprised.
I think she's had 3 matches. If she was as good as she was in this match, she's
my God! If
potential.
If this was her 3rd match,
she's natural. She's
impressive.
Not she's not doing any high flying. She's not doing any
it's mat wrestling.
It's what she does. Probably what she does in MMA, mixed martial arts. It sounds like I'm saying MMA in mixed martial arts, but she actually looked. She looks the part in wrestling. It works.
and she's able to make it look interesting in a pro wrestling setting.
Plus, she has a good character. She's a badass. She's an asshole. She did a great job being an asshole.
And she looks so comfortable in there.
Yeah.
She didn't.
It helped that she was in there with Melissa too, which was probably one of the.
Well, that's one. Yeah, that's 2.
You know what this match reminded me of? Negro Navarro. I even told you it reminds me of the Negro Navarro match. You could take Negro Navarro to watch this match, and he would tell you he liked this match.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, but it's like where a lot of amateur wrestlers in mixed martial arts, when they go and do a pro wrestling thing, you've seen it where they don't exactly know how to translate.
Or they do something that's mixed martial arts related, but they don't do any, the character doesn't.
Yeah, and she just, wow. That's all I gotta say. She was really good.
First time I saw her was at that the benefit show for Red, and she was just sitting back behind me, and I was like, she looked cool. I thought, man, she looked cool.
I remember you talking about it.
I remember telling you, I go, she had a Guns N' Roses shirt that I was jealous of that because I wanted to get that shirt. But I was like, man, she's got the muscles to wear that, to make that shirt look cool.
And on Facebook in that following week, I saw more guys posting photos of them with her.
Yeah.
And almost any other woman on the show, I gotta say.
She's so cool. Yeah. And she's very down to earth too. From what the way she responded to Dan for the picture.
That's cool.
Because that was the thing. You had to pay $10 to take a picture with the.
Oh, that's right. She went ahead and.
She told him she wasn't famous enough.
That's
she'd take a picture.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah. The main event was good too.
That was definitely the best.
Well, I thought everybody else said it was the best. I thought the Baszler Melissa match was the best match of the night. But I'm a bigger fan of mat wrestling, and
but also
although I gotta admit, I really liked Mayu Iwatani.
Which one was she? I have to plead ignorance here. I'm not familiar with
the one. Kurt's not gonna know this one. The one tagging with Io Shirai.
Who's she?
The girls that were going against the Australian girl.
Okay, yes.
And that was Matsumoto.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelly Skater.
Yes.
That was the main event,
right?
Yeah, the other side.
And you know,
I like how this is.
You want to hear the funniest part?
I bet you people are listening to this and people are like just laughing at the fact that
I used to make fun of people for doing this. Yes. I used to make fun of people.
Me explaining Japanese women's wrestling
to somebody who used to watch Japanese wrestling, and then I just no. This after
Mayu Watani was the skinny one.
Yeah,
in the babyface tag team.
After that match, I knew I was going to have to ask you later in the week what were the names of the girls in the main events because they were awesome.
Io Shirai's the famous one, basically.
Yeah,
she was the.
Well, here's where I think what you say about.
And I was thinking she was going to be the one I was going to be most impressed. Although I did get to see her moonsault. So that's now removed from my bucket list.
There you go. Awesome. But what you're saying about Shane and Melissa's match, I think a lot of people wouldn't understand, but it makes perfect sense because you're were they the third match?
Yeah, third match. There was only 5 matches, which is a great thing.
But when you're the third match, your job, a lot of people in the business, in the indie business, I should say, don't understand this. You're in the third match. Your job is not to upstage the main event.
Well, see, they weren't going to do the same stuff either.
Exactly.
So that's what worked.
But what she did worked so beautifully.
Yeah.
I mean, my favorite match was the main event, but I totally get what you say about that one being the best.
Well,
match
the other match,
what they did worked.
Mia Yim teaming up with Hudson Envy versus Melina, and I can't remember who she was teaming. Oh, the one I was raving about with Eric Van Wagenen. Can't pronounce her name. I'm looking at the paper. What was her name again? Oh, Kari Hojo. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a good match, too.
That was very good, yeah.
It wasn't as great as a...
At times it seemed like nobody was really leading the match.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't even...
The opener, I thought... The opener was a trios match. I thought that match had a few more flaws.
Yeah.
But I thought Kyoko Kimura was great.
Exactly. She carried the whole thing.
She carried the match. When she got in, you could tell she was kind of telling everybody, don't do this, telling them not to do... Because there were some points where they were just doing some... They looked a little disorganized.
And even when you have a good... Especially in a 6-person tag, and you only have one person leading... I could picture it falling apart. I mean, I've never been in that situation, but I could picture it falling apart really easily. But she kind of kept that together.
Yeah.
And I mean... I would say she was the best wrestler, but she's my favorite wrestler on the show.
On the show, yeah. She had a lot of personality. Yeah. I knew you were going to like her because I had seen her in the past and
you saw that's a KB wrestler.
Yeah, and then she had the marijuana. The pot leaves.
Yeah, Kyoko Kimura, she had a Rasta shirt that had marijuana leaves on it, and her partner was the drunken samurai who was actually drinking a beer in the corner.
I thought the one thing I will say about Yasukawa, her one flaw, I think she wasn't drunk enough in the show, and she wasn't playing drunk enough.
Yeah, she should have come out sober, and gradually as the match went on,
done some spot where it looks like
that would have been great.
Because with I made a reference. Well, there's drunk like Mr. Niebla. I mean, that's horrible.
That's sad drunk.
That's sad drunk. But like Whiskey Fist McIntosh, when he would do the drunk spot, he would actually look like he was drunk. Then he would actually attack, and it was all a joke because he wasn't really drunk.
Yes.
And I thought she should have done that a little more.
Yeah. By the way, I can't remember if I ever said this, but the one year where Whiskey Fist wrestled in the Battle Royal at Cauliflower Alley.
I don't remember that.
It was a year before you went, but I didn't see it. But several people said when Whiskey went out, even before he got to the ring working his gimmick, they said Jake Roberts just started laughing uncontrollably and clapping his hands like, this is awesome.
Yeah, because that's the stuff you dig. If you're not a great wrestler, you have to have a great gimmick.
Exactly, he does.
And you have to be, and that's what Narukasa said.
Yes.
The most important thing that a wrestler has to be so the fans can believe in you. You have to believe in yourself and your character.
Absolutely. Yes. And that match I had with the tag match with Whiskey, that was one of the most fun matches I've ever had, ever.
Yeah.
You know? I said, it wasn't a great match, but it was the most enjoyable match.
And that's what I said. I thought she didn't play the drunk enough. She wasn't.
That would be good, yeah.
Yeah. So, the tag main event was great. Overall, I really dug the show. I hope they were after the show. Everybody wanted them to come back next year.
That was very
and
cool.
They're thinking they might.
It was a hot audience. I loved the audience.
The audience
too.
was great. My only critique of the audience, like this is like they started doing this is women's wrestling.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Women's wrestling. I'm like, dude, it's just wrestling. Come on.
Yes.
You don't go to well, actually, they do now. It's LA. Basically, like I know, like a lot of people. Maybe some of you watch Lucha Underground, and you're like, some of you guys who watch Lucha Underground, and you're thinking, man, some of these chants that they do there are kind of silly. Mm-hmm. It's LA, guys. This is what happens.
True.
LA fans kind of get
where I would support your claim is the women's wrestling chant. It was there, but it was nothing like when they started chanting "This is awesome." They sounded passionate.
Yeah.
The women's wrestling, it looked like they were just trying to figure something to scream.
Women's
wrestling, but when they said "This is awesome," they felt. You could tell they felt it, and it was awesome too.
I covered my. I was glad nobody knew I was covering this for LuchaWorld.
We should have you come in a different disguise.
I don't have to go in disguise. People, I don't.
But that would make it fun.
I don't really do anything.
And if you come in a disguise, people will recognize you because
I go to all these Lucha shows.
Disguise yourself.
Nobody even knows about LuchaWorld, so I don't really worry about it.
No.
Actually, only Superboy knows about it.
I
think he's the only one that really.
But Acero Dorado recognizes you every time.
Yeah, as Físico.
That's right, Físico Segundo.
We need a third.
And if there's ever those rare occasions where I'm there without you, Superboy Jr. and Indu Jr., where's Fredo? And they actually chide me for not bringing you along, as if it's my responsibility.
Because I'm the one that asked, like, what you think of the match.
Yes, exactly.
Although Superboy learned his lesson that one time where I said, oh, that wasn't that good of a match. He's like, oh, take it easy on this guy. He's young. Remember he told us
that? Exactly. He's soft.
Yeah, no problem.
He's mellowing in his old age because 20 years ago he would have chewed them a new one.
Well, it's not like I'm going to... Like, it's indie wrestling. It's not like I'm going to... Indie wrestling, there's different levels.
Absolutely.
There's different levels of wrestlers on indie shows. Not everybody's going to be in WWE. Not everybody's going to be... travel. Some guys are just going to be here local.
Oh, absolutely.
Do their thing. So it's like,
well, and you know what? Even though I'll roll my eyes at when some of the rookies try to do way too much in the opening match, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, it's like
having fun.
It's funny because we talk about Thunder. We just did like a lot, and it's like, and I talk about how bad he is in the ring, and I keep thinking, man, I've seen worse. We have seen worse wrestlers than Thunder, and it's like, yeah, we have, but. I think the problem with Thunder is that he's still around.
Well,
and he's on television.
And he's surrounded by
talent,
elite talent.
Yeah. I'm not expecting like a local crappy wrestler to be able to like spend a year main eventing versus Ultimo Guerrero and Atlantis.
Yes.
Los Cobra Nablus and still look bad.
Well, I think.
Or the promoter's going to keep booking him to look bad.
Yeah, well, to be honest, if I was booking a show, I would be telling these opening guys, I would tell them what to do and what not to do, only because it would be my show. Because what's frustrating is some of the guys actually do some good mat stuff, and they might do a few good high spots, but they try to do everything they've ever practiced, and they don't count for the fact they're going to get tired and blow up, and you start missing high spots that way. And a lot of them are ones they've maybe done once or twice, where they should just be doing the high spots they know in their sleep. You don't have to blow the socks off the crowd in the opener.
Especially on an indie show that only like 10 people are gonna see.
Exactly, just warm the crowd up.
See it right there. And a lot of people who attend indie shows, they're not really gonna remember. They're not gonna go.
Exactly, nobody's gonna remember this in 10 years.
Like they're not gonna remember every single match. I mean, there's some matches they'll remember.
Well, I remember when I had those matches in La Fagata. I wasn't gonna be around for the next month.
Yeah.
In the opening match, the guy and I weren't that familiar, so we just did 2 or 3 high spots, and the rest of the match I said, just start trashing my arm. Just if I had him, I just said, just kick it really good, smack it, make sure it's all bruised up. And in the third fall, the referee just jumps in and waves him, like in a mixed martial arts match.
Yeah.
And it was great, because it was nice and bruised up, but it wasn't hurt. Like, he didn't kick the elbow or the shoulder.
Yeah.
So it looked really brutal, but, we were the opener. We weren't supposed to upstage anybody, plus we couldn't have. I mean, we didn't know each other that well. I was super green with Lucha, but you know what? It really got over, and we were really happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just have to find the right thing to do.
What works.
Yeah. Yeah, so overall, I thought the show was good.
It was really fun.
I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think.
And I always
it's weird because women's wrestling, I'm not really that into it.
Well, that's the thing is this makes me want to get a little more familiar with it again. It's not like the 90s with...
Yeah, it's not at that level.
But they're still good, and it's still fun to see.
I thought Stardom did a great job, and from the women's wrestling I've watched, and I skimmed through a lot of it, I think Stardom's kind of like the one I actually enjoy. Although I do enjoy watching Oz Academy sometimes.
I've watched Oz a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, but the other stuff, it's like, like Reina. Reina was really kind of bad, but I don't think it was the actual matches. Actually, some of the matches were really bad because they had like, they would bring in some of the CMLL women, but and some of the matches, because you're bringing in greener women just starting out. But it's like, I think the atmosphere of the show just didn't really present itself well,
right?
Because it just looked, here's the ring, it's an empty building, maybe like a couple of and Japanese people are so quiet.
Yes.
It didn't have a vibe to it. Whereas Stardom is kind of more something I could sit through and watch. I've seen some bad wrestling on Stardom. I've seen some good wrestling on Stardom. So.
Well, it's funny. What little I've watched of Stardom before this is because, I'm a Hudson Envy fan. It's great to see. Yeah. It's great to see a gal who's working.
Well, that's why I kept watching it too. Like I wasn't going to continue watching it, but they started bringing in some of they brought in some of the luchadoras.
Yeah.
I actually saw, and then they brought in Dr. Wagner Jr. for a show.
What they did?
Yeah, they had a mixed tag or something.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that was the show that I was telling you about that had that girl that nearly broke her leg doing
that's what you're telling me.
A power bomb or a German suplex.
You did tell me about that, yeah. I didn't realize.
Yeah, that was so funny. And so I was like, this isn't that great. And then they started bringing Hudson Envy. I was like, I know that I've seen her here. I want to keep watching, see which.
It's fun to see somebody with a good attitude who's upbeat and really, really trying to make it. It's like when when I saw her at her gimmick table, she was just saying, God, I suck so bad in there. And I just said, compared to what?
Yeah.
And she said, compared to everything. And I stopped and I thought, well, maybe that's what makes somebody improve is get hard on themselves. And I mean, she has some stuff to learn, but she's better than I ever was.
Really? I don't know about that.
Everybody knows about that.
So it's like, I
do hope they come back.
Yeah, I hope so. It's something fun, if they do it every year. I think there should be some show. There should be more people doing shows like that every year, rather than doing all these random continual.
Exactly.
Every weekend doing a women's show. I don't think that would work.
Semi disorganized.
I wouldn't go I wouldn't want to go if somebody here locally decided, hey, I'm going to start running women's wrestling. I probably want to go to every show anyway.
No,
because there's not enough good women.
You'd have to have some good women, and you have to make a compelling reason for you.
And I'm not even saying there's so. I mean, even the man, there's not a lot of great male wrestlers.
Well, and on top of that, there's just so many shows with the same wrestlers on them. Because
we've seen it when on the Sundays where there's multiple shows,
and wrestlers shows,
aren't on all these other shows. You go to the show and it's you start seeing the quality of the show kind of dips.
Exactly.
And maybe you get the good main event because the guys who came in, but it's you don't really. It doesn't really.
Yeah, and let's.
And I mean, I'm not gonna knock them for trying it because that's what they got to do.
Yeah. I know that it's almost like I think if I was gonna run a show, I'd wait a while to see if some of the other promotions kind of.
Yeah, it stopped doing it. Well, that one year I was thinking of promoting again, I think it's 2004, 2005. And then the NWA started running, and then these other promotions I ain't gonna do it then.
Well, and it's there have been
and especially because I don't like spending money as is. It's I'm just gonna keep.
Yeah, and that's the first thing that goes when you're promoting, unless you get a sponsor, which is difficult. But there was one point where on Sundays you could find 5 lucha shows in the LA area.
Yeah, and it's like that now again. Although right now there hasn't been because I think there's UIPW's kind of going through other things right now.
Yes.
And then
this is true.
Superboy's also going through other things right now.
Yeah, well that's the thing. Yeah. See, these guys are trying to run a promotion, but they're everyday guys who have to live it every day.
Yeah, they have other things going on in their lives that kind of. They can't just promote shows at the moment.
Absolutely.
I think Lucha Libre VIP is still running, but they're not. I don't think they've announced another show lately. Yeah, they ran the last week.
I think that's the one I'm the least familiar with of all the...
Oh, FMLL's running in, I think next week or this weekend? I think it's this weekend, right?
Yeah, the...
Shocker versus Ultimo Guerrero?
Yes, and...
Are you going to go to that?
Morgan.
Are you going to go to that?
When is it?
I think it's Sunday.
Sunday?
$35? Like, no.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it.
I don't even know if it's $35. let me check.
I'd love to go to those shows, but they're way too pricey.
Yeah, the last show we went to was like...
I mean, that one I had no qualms about shelling out the money because, Mathematical was there. It was a who's who of veterans, you know? And just Negro Navarro, I mean, that was like one of the highlights of our year.
Yeah. Well, that made it. The fact that we got to interview
Negro Navarro
was worth it.
Yeah, and it was a really fun show. I mean, but, to do it, even several times a year to spend that much money, you'd really have to load the card up for me.
Yeah, hold on, I'll get it.
Cobarde's on it.
Cobarde's on it?
Yeah.
I could talk to him about Juarez.
That's true.
Is it this weekend, or I think it's next weekend, isn't it? I clicked the wrong one.
Are you on your Postermania page?
Yeah.
Coolest page on the net. No, totally. I look forward to it.
I like how we're doing the whole silence.
Yeah, so I guess I gotta think of something to talk about.
Talk about something while
That's right. There's too many shows on Sundays. Lucha Libre shows in the LA area.
Yeah, it is.
I'm just repeating what I said a few minutes ago. But yeah,
Shocker versus Ultimo Guerrero. Nicho el Millonario and Jaque Mate versus El Cobarde and Pirata Morgan. For the first time ever in FMLL, Chaos and Fuerza Guerrera. Jalisco's going to be on that show. How much is it? You don't have the price on here.
That would help.
Oh, $25 for adults, $10 for kids.
That's not too bad.
It's in El Monte, Garvey Avenue. Florentine Gardens, the same place.
Yeah, the place we saw it. I dig that place. It reminds me of the Portland Sports Arena.
I just can't sit through I don't think I could sit through the Nicho and Millonario Jaque Mate versus...
Well, but here's the thing.
I wouldn't mind interviewing one of these guys.
But think of it. There's good odds Nicho won't be there.
Why?
There's always no showing cards. In fact, they should have an advertisement for in case Nicho doesn't show up.
He's aged really, he's got that really aged physically and...
It's weird. I
can't sit through Shocker and Ultimo Guerrero. What am I talking about? Yeah. I'm making fun of the other guys. I can't sit through Shocker and Ultimo Guerrero.
I actually saw Psicosis' first match.
Wow.
In Tijuana when he was Salai, and they announced this is his debut.
I wouldn't mind seeing.
He looked like a kid. And
Baby Richard will be there. Piloto Suicida, Acero Dorado, Sin Límite, Super Nacho, El Platanito. Maybe we could get Fuerza to interview Fuerza.
That would be actually
Fuerza.
Cool.
What do you? This guy said you're rude. I actually wouldn't mind interviewing Pirata Morgan. That would be
That would be cool.
Yeah.
That would be very cool, actually.
Yeah.
Morgan, one of my faves. One of my faves.
What did I do? I'm like, what did I do? I'm using my new Kindle Fire.
That's very cool. That's when you're talking to me on the phone about. We're having just a regular conversation.
I know. I think how this podcast is
join in. It's a shame we're not live. We're having people call in and call us names.
We should do a call-in show and just have people ask.
Yeah, let's do it sometime.
Yeah, but some of those people would start asking us a bunch of the same old questions.
Well, then advertise it as a psychic line.
Although I wouldn't mind doing it.
Yeah. I'll be El Hijo de Walter Mercado. Yes.
I'm just looking at this because it went back to the. It goes to the when it goes to the old version of your web page.
I saw.
I keep getting confused by that.
I saw Psicosis' very first match, and I knew that was his first match at the time. Did I tell you I only recently found out that I saw Magnum TA's very first wrestling match?
Really? I think you told me about seeing Magnum TA when he was early.
Yeah, well...
but I didn't know if you had...
When I lived in Oregon, in Eugene, 1981, I remember every Friday I would get the paper because they would advertise that night's matches. And that's when Buzz Sawyer was a face in the territory. And it said in the opening match, Buzz Sawyer will meet Terry Allen. And at the time, there was an indie wrestler...
named Tony Allen.
No, there was a Terry Allen on the indie circuit.
Okay.
Up in Massachusetts.
So you were like,
the New England area, but I was saying, what, Tom Burke's friend? So I remember calling him Tom Burke, and he says no, and he says, I guarantee you, he only wrestles part time. He's like an artist. He was like a guy who did art for magazines and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I go there and Terry Allen, I just thought, damn, this guy has a cool look. The funny thing is he was
handsome dude. You're like, he's a handsome dude.
He was a very handsome. Well, that's the funny thing. I thought very handsome guy, but he looked so shy. Like, he looked really shy.
Yeah.
But a really good match. And then I remember later that year I saw him, I think, on, like, Southwest Championship Wrestling doing jobs. And I think it was the next year he got pushed in Florida. But I remember I thought, oh, that's cool. I saw him really early in his career. And on Facebook, somebody, I can't remember what the post was, but they were talking about Magnum TA, and I put in the comment section, I remember seeing him, I kind of gave a description of what I just described to you of that match.
Yeah.
And he was on Facebook, and he actually wrote in the comments, that was my very first match.
Wow.
Yeah. I guess Buzz Sawyer trained him, and I can't remember what he said.
Did you guys become friends on Facebook, or...?
Yeah, but that's the last time we ever had any contact. But
I've always heard he's a good guy, though.
Oh, I've never heard a bad thing about that guy.
I feel bad for him.
I do too.
I always wondered. He's one of those I know it sounds like he's. I feel bad for him for what happened, but he's actually like somebody who actually maybe it was the right thing for him, like to get out of the business.
Exactly. I mean,
he's done.
The business messes people up. Yeah. I mean, it sounds like he really moved on really rapidly, you know.
So what do you think would have happened to him had he not been in that accident?
I think he would have been on top.
Yeah, in the NWA.
I don't know. I mean, of course.
I think he would have gone at some point to WWE.
Probably
like by 89, 90.
Of course, that's a what if, but I don't picture him being the type of guy who would crash and burn his career.
Yeah.
You know, he was really good.
How old was he when he was in the accident? The car accident?
I don't know, but it was, I mean...
Late 20s?
Was that... Yeah. I mean, it was young.
Would he have made it in time for if he would have been active, would he have been around for the Monday Night Wars? Probably.
Oh, yeah.
He probably would have been in his mid-30s by then, or late 30s.
Because the crash, I think, was in 86,
86?
If I remember right.
Yeah, and then 10 years later?
Yeah. I just remember being so bummed when I heard it. Because, I mean, it's not like I knew the guy, but it just... And you know, I don't know, just... I really wasn't in touch with anybody in the business and stuff, but as I watched him, I kind of thought, damn, this guy seems like he's got his shit together, seems like he's really good, you know, not just a really good worker, but somebody who's really following whoever's leading him, which wound up being Dusty. I didn't know that at the time. And then later I heard...
I thought it was great.
Every bit was true. Yeah.
I thought it was great. I always dug the name Magnum TA. I was like,
that was a great name.
Magnum PI.
I usually hated names like that, but...
He had the look to fit that. So have you've seen Hechicero's look, right? His look.
I love it.
Who do you think created the mask design and the outfit for him? Who came up with the concept? Who?
The artist?
No.
I have no idea.
Canelo Casas.
Well.
Okay. So Canelo Casas has value, man.
I was going to say, why doesn't he just make masks full-time?
Why does he just be a designer and stuff?
Yeah, and he'd probably make more money, too.
Probably.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice. The design and everything.
That is a beautiful mask.
Yeah.
I love Hechicero's look so much. I know I said it a million times on this podcast, but his new look completes him.
I really like what he was saying about, they asked him, a fan was telling him, hey, you're very charismatic and very good in the ring. Mm-hmm. And then they said something else. I think they were just telling him how great he is. And then he said, they asked him a question, and he's like, well, before I get to the question, because he's very talkative. Mm-hmm. This is one thing that, very, very talkative guy. So he's like, well, before you answer the question, I just want to mention this thing about the charisma. Because, you know, a lot of people bring that up as for wrestlers. It's like, because everybody points out to the wrestling moves and all this. But with charisma, he's like, you're not taught charisma. Mm-hmm. You're born with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's like, you either have it or you don't. He's like, some of us have it, some of us don't. He's like, when you go out there, he's like, this is why I really... He was talking about Nero Casas. He's like, you go watch Nero Casas. Nero Casas, as soon as he steps into the arena, he's already in character. He's excited. You could get the feeling of him having fun and all that stuff. He's got charisma. He's like, that's not taught. And I was like, wow.
I remember, you know, when like Physical and I were first Negro Casas fans and stuff, it was not often you have Lucha shows in the area. Because this was 1986, 87. He'd appear every now and then. There was one show in San Bernardino. I wasn't able to go, but he was. Mm-hmm. And so I said, how's Negro Causa's match? And he says, well, it was a tag. The guys he was in were just really lame, but he says, it didn't matter. Negro Causa steps in the ring and he shines. He said Negro Causa just made the match work.
Well, look at even that show that we went to. He only worked maybe 10 minutes, and we still enjoyed his match.
We enjoyed it, and everybody enjoyed it. Everybody was happy that night.
It's kind of a shame that it was raining, and it was a weird place to run a wrestling show.
I dug it, though. That's what I love about Lucha. You never know what the building is.
It wasn't a bad building. It was just out of... It was kind of like the Oxnard show where you couldn't find the place that easily.
That building was a trip.
Yeah.
I love... It was this in an industrial area of LA.
Kind of seemed unfair for poor Negro Causa, although he didn't mind. He was like...
I bet you he's been used to stuff places. Like that. Yeah. No,
I keep forgetting that when I talk to the guys, because I see them in Arena Mexico, or I see them in like big stadium arenas, and I did this with Volador Jr. when I said, hey, how do you get used to like working in a... It was no diss to the promotion or anything.
Oh yeah.
Wrestling in Arena Mexico, which is a big building, and then you're working in a little warehouse. And you're like, it's the same thing. And then I keep thinking, I'm stupid. He wrestles in like he doesn't just wrestle in Arena Mexico. He wrestles in some shitholes.
Oh yeah. I mean,
they wrestle wherever they get paid.
Exactly.
Some of the buildings. I mean, they've wrestled outdoors.
Oh, I remember there was a guy. I can't remember what the promotion was. 96, 97. They're running at the Olympic. Every now and then. And the guy running it was trying to book Superboy, and Superboy wasn't interested. And he's saying, why not? And he says, well, because you're telling me you don't want to pay me. He says, but this is exposure. I'm getting you out of the swap meets.
Yes.
And Superboy said,
wrestling, what is that? The wrestling tradition?
Tradition. You try to...
Exposure over money.
Exactly. You dangled the carrot in front of them and said, come here, it'll... And, Superboy was around long enough to just say, I don't mind wrestling at those swap meets because they pay me.
Yeah.
And it's just a swap meet, but they're respectful towards us. The fans have a good time. We get paid.
Yeah.
So I don't need exposure. He's already wrestling in Michinoku Pro for several years. And
I just think that's funny when they do that. Like the whole, we'll get you exposure. Like, It works. And I'm not saying it doesn't work. It works for younger guys.
I fell for it.
But when you're already somebody who's established, you're not going to...
It drove me crazy.
You've either reached the plateau of where you're at, you're pretty much where you're at, or you already know you can get to the next level. You know how to get to that next level.
Even when I started wrestling again, when I started wrestling Lucha Indies in the early 90s, I wanted to work bad. And, I wasn't anybody special. I had to really say, hey, could you use me? But the one time where I absolutely said absolutely no is when somebody did the exposure line to me. Yeah. And several did it. Oh God, there's one, they tried to say, we're paying the wrestlers based on the t-shirts we sell at the matches. And I'm like, and I said, well, what's the guarantee? And they were just talking in circles saying, well, we're going to sell a lot of these t-shirts, and you're not even a good carny, dude.
You never know with t-shirts.
They probably gave them all away that night.
Not for nothing, but I mean, because wrestling isn't that, Designed by Humans is having a sale right now if you want.
Ooh, I love Designed by Humans.
They're doing, it's only a handful of shirts that they're putting for $18.
Yeah.
And then free shipping. So it's $18 and free shipping. So it's just I think if you go under if you click on the link, it'll give you like the certain shirts they have. It's like about 100 shirts that they have. It's from their own, so it's like if anybody just you could click on our on
LuchaWorld,
the ad designed by humans.
It is a great. Yeah. I've bought at least 8 shirts from there.
Yeah, I bought 2 today, so.
What did you get?
I got another one with a shark.
Nice. You get sharks, I get cats.
Well, because and another one with a skull. Skull and sharks are my thing. The skull had headphones. I wanted because it's this kind of T-shirt, the heather material, which I kind of like.
Yes,
it's a softer T-shirt. I don't like the thicker.
You know that first one, the tan shirt you got me with the cat with the head?
Yeah.
Cat. Aside from my Ramones shirt, my deep purple.
They have that shirt on sale also right now if you want to get that.
Really?
Yeah.
That shirt. The only shirt I get as many comments about is my Ramon shirt, my Deep Purple shirt, and my Espanto shirt with the mask laces on the back.
Oh, okay.
But that cat shirt, everybody for some reason just digs that shirt when I wear it at work.
Yeah.
I get more comments.
Yeah,
on that.
a lot of a lot of my cousins and my nieces and nephews, the only reason they like me is because I'm actually come off as being cool based off T-shirts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Music, because I kind of stay up. Like Conan says, you have to stay up to date with all that stuff.
Totally.
Which I kind of try to be, but
I don't.
it's unintentional though. It's not even me being intentionally trying to do that. It's just the way it is with me.
That's
like,
how
I
it
just
works.
there's just a lot. I have a lot of interest.
It.
Yeah, that's just the way I am. Sports, everything. I just like to I just enjoy all that stuff.
I know, me too. I dig pop culture.
Yeah.
At work, there's days where my nickname is Otter Pop because when I wear the Deep Purple shirt.
Oh.
I also wear my purple jeans.
Yeah.
Purple shirt.
Well, that's what I was telling you. The day we were at Stardom and we were talking about, you said that you usually wear black to work, and I said, no, you don't. You wear purple. And you're like, that's right, I do wear purple.
Yeah. And then I have these like aqua blue jeans, and from Designed by Humans, I got a shirt called Ultradelic.
Yeah.
Like a play on the Funkadelic, but it has Ultraman on the. And it's bright blue, so I'm the blue raspberry otter pop on.
Yeah, I'm bummed they didn't have the Chewbacca T-shirt for sale.
Oh,
they had a Chewbacca T-shirt for sale.
No way.
Not for sale, but they have it because they're now doing Star Wars, Marvel, and DC Comics, and all these different. It's amazing how big those guys got.
When I go on that site, I only go when I know I can buy something. When I can drop.
Yeah,
because it's hard to leave that site.
That's the reason I tell you right now, because they're doing a sale. It's like
I'm going to check that tonight. Then
if you're buying 2 shirts, it's $36, maybe $38.
Nice.
As opposed to paying $50 for like 2 of the shirts, and it's like it's amazing. Like we were talking about T-shirts, like Kevin Kleinrock doing the Master Republic thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I remember when a lot of those companies were first starting, it's like they used to rip your money. They used to rip you off.
Really?
Just because, like, I don't know, because they were getting great art.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like very hard. I think the demand was too much for the supply. So
kind of like where the idea was good, but they weren't organized.
Yeah, so some of them would disappear, because there was one that I got. One of the first ones I bought just disappeared, and it was like one of those where I just like I had to send them an email. You know, I'm not the type of guy who's like going to be like an asshole. I had to be an asshole with them because like, dude, what are you guys gonna? They sent the shirt, but it's like fuck.
Well, and it's stuff like that. It's those offbeat things like that, because I remember years ago. Before internet, there were a lot of advertisements
through those magazines and stuff like.
Yeah, everything from wrestling magazines to B-movie magazines. There's a lot of people who sold like bootleg Hong Kong or Godzilla tapes, and you're taking your chance. Some of them would send it to you right away, and then others you actually had to get on the phone and call them. And I think you do see less of that now, though. I see a lot of offbeat sites where they run it like a business.
Well, the thing I'm most impressed with is that, like with wrestling, if you would have told me like 10 years ago I would wear a wrestling shirt in public, I'd been like, yeah, probably not. Like being at the age I was, and even once you're past a certain age, you're not going to wear a wrestling shirt. But it's like I have no problem wearing my Paraguayo T-shirt everywhere I go.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's a cool T-shirt.
They're so awesome these days.
I mean, the Cobra Nablus shirt, I can't wait till I get it. Because the shirt looks awesome.
Yes.
The new shirt, the first one they made was like kind of look weird.
Well, I remember when WWF first started coming here, like in 83, 84, and when Sergeant Slaughter from Babyface, they had the coolest shirt. I can't.
Not that they don't make bad shirts, but there's
but there were a lot
shirts.
of shirts that. Well, that was when I was just starting to work indies.
Yeah.
And,
did you ever have that issue about wearing a shirt because you were a worker? And you couldn't wear.
Oh
that.
Yeah, I was delusional.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys did.
Yeah.
A lot of the guys. You'd wear the shirt, but you wouldn't wear it to a wrestling match.
I had that. We had that happen when Dan would do his merch table, and guys would show up and be like, "I'm gonna get some of these things, but I'll come back later because I don't want the guys to think I'm a mark."
Jeez.
And I'm like, dude,
I shouldn't say that because
I'm like, dude, I wasn't. I hope. Yeah, this guy's probably not going to listen to this podcast. But I was like, dude, who the fuck cares what these other guys... This is just me. I was like, I told him, who the fuck cares what these other guys think?
Well, also it's funny today because back
I think
then...
that's why I'm not a wrestler, because I would never give a fuck about what people think.
Yeah.
I've never been that
but here's another thing, is back when I was started... I was with these indie guys, and I shouldn't even worried about it. But with the whole
one of them became Sting. Just kidding.
No. The funny thing is, what's a good way to put it? Well, they adhered to kayfabe more, and they were a lot more scared to look markish than they are now. Like, I'll hear people gush over how wonderful somebody is publicly. He's in the biz, rookie in the biz. But back then, I remember talking to some workers when Anton Leone was running, and these are guys who were really good, and they'd start raving about, like one guy was raving about Rick Martel. And he's just so awesome, and he stops and goes, "Oh, I don't mean like I'm not a marker or anything. I just love the way he works." And I'm kind of like, relax.
Yeah, I know.
But I understood where they were coming from because people would razz you a lot, but it seems to, it's funny.
Yeah, I'm guessing.
And the older I get, the less I get.
Yeah, and I think that's what, like with Volador Jr. when I was having that conversation with him, because we talked about Stuquita and how I raved about how great Stuquita was, and he agreed with me. But I'm guessing that wouldn't have been a conversation with like Jerry Estrada in 1985.
No, it wouldn't have.
Or somebody from the 80s. Like, Jerry Estrada had his own issues, which I'm pretty sure I would.
That's a whole different set.
Yeah, but I'm talking like Javier Cruz or something like that, or somebody from that era. Tony Salazar probably wouldn't.
There would be more of a disconnect.
Yeah, more of a.
To guys
although
like especially.
I don't know, because Negro Navarro was he's from that era, and
That's true.
Our conversation was just the same.
Maybe
it's more of a.
Well, it could also be just
a culture thing.
A cultural thing.
Yeah.
Different era too.
Yeah. What was I going to tell you?
I remember what I was going to say. The Sergeant Slaughter shirt I had was really cool. It was a army green shirt, had Sergeant Slaughter and all these cobras on it. It was the one shirt I would wear.
Yeah.
But the place I was training, I was there, one of the trainers looks at me and says, "Oh, you're such a fucking mark." And he says they actually gypped you out of money for that shirt. Do you want to know what shirt he was wearing?
What?
It said, "Last Chance Saloon. Liquor in the front, poker in the rear."
Oh, jeez.
Oh, dear. Who's the mark now?
Yeah.
He probably still has that shirt 30 years later.
That's just... It's always that one guy who always has to point out.
Oh, exactly.
And that's when that guy was saying that, I was like, dude, don't worry about it. I mean...
Yeah.
All these guys are indie guys. None of these guys are going to... Like, especially there, I was like, none of these guys... I mean, Brian Cage, I think Brian Cage might have worked that show. I go, Brian Cage is going to make it. Rest of you guys... No, I'm sorry.
And those are the ones that overthink it and get delusional. They
Well, that's why I like Supernatural. I'm
a
big fan of Supernatural because he gets it.
He does.
And
totally.
And he actually has more talent than he actually probably gets credit for. I actually think it's a lot better than he
I agree.
Yeah. I don't think he thinks he's as good as...
He doesn't, and the one thing is he should go crazy babyface instead of heel, because he acts crazy, but he's too lovable.
Like I said, I think he would have been great in the 80s.
He would have been great.
70s.
He's one of those guys, if it was a territory, he's the guy who would be great to start out as a heel.
Yeah, then turn him.
But then you turn him and say...
Because he's the crazy guy. He's the crazy
guy, and you say to the heels, like, okay, you've gone too far... I'm getting Supernatural, and they're like, "Oh my God, get him away! He's nuts!"
Him and Whiskey Fist were guys who I always thought were like great, and I never understood why they didn't like. I never understood why they weren't booked often at the shows that we'd go.
I agree. Yeah, it's very cool.
That's a different story. That's when we do our look back at Lucha at LA indie wrestling.
Actually, yeah. And actually, I want to thank anybody who has lasted this long.
Is this the longest show?
Yeah.
Are we hit the
2 hours? We're just hitting 2 hours and 23 minutes.
You know the weirdest thing? This is this show. I probably won't even edit anything out because we didn't say anything bad about anyone.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good time to call it quits.
Yeah, let's call it quits. And anybody who stayed this long, I want to give you a big thank you.
Contact Kurt. He'll send you a
I don't know what I'll send.
He'll send you a thank you.
Yeah, I'll send you...
He'll poke you on Facebook.
But I won't poke you in person. Elena might kick my ass for doing that.
That still exists on Facebook. I didn't even really say that.
Yeah, it still does. It's very popular.
Somebody used it a 2 months ago, and I was like, that still exists?
I thought it was gone for a while.
Yeah, because I never...
It's not as prolific. It used to be right up there on the screen.
Yeah.
And somebody poked me, And then I went to look, and 5 other people had poked me, like, in the last month, and so I poked them back. And
what is that? They just poke you? Does it notify you? Is it just...
Yeah, I get a notice saying somebody just poked you. Oh. And I'm saying, God, I thought my anal region hurt, but...
Well, because since I don't use my phone for Facebook or anything, I'm like the one person that has a phone. I don't check Twitter on it. Because I have a tablet now. I
made the mistake of doing everything when we got this new Samsung phone, and
because I have an old phone.
The genie's out of the bottle. I wish I didn't, because I'm always tempted to just grab it at work and look at it, but
I don't. Like I have trouble turning it off. Man,
you are a wiser man than I am.
Yeah. So,
but
we should probably end the show. Next show is going to be a 4-hour show where we're going to recap the Observer.
We're going to make it up and have it be a 5-minute show. We're going to condense it and talk really fast. We're going to talk fast, like in those warnings whenever they have a pharmaceutical commercial on TV, like, this pill will change your life, it'll rescue you. Side effects may include diarrhea, pneumonia, seizures, instant death, and then they rattle off all the things that it'll do to you.
We could have watched the final 2 matches from Heroes Inmortales while we did this podcast.
Yeah, but it's more fun.
More fun
just shooting the bull.
Next podcast, I'll talk about those 2 matches.
Okay, yes, and I'll talk about...
Actually, that was Muertos.
Oh, yeah, and I will bring up what I was going to bring up about IWRG.
Oh, my
goodness. Next time.
Well, it's IWRG. You can bring it up anytime.
Yes, and anytime is good. So, until then, may the right hemisphere of the brain short-circuit the left hemisphere. May the left hemisphere short-circuit the right hemisphere. And bing! You're there. Oh, my God, I did the opening and the closing in one take. Hallelujah. Rockin'.